girls. Okay, everybody get in while I set us up. I'm definitely gonna stay. Let's get some ice water. Get your morning. I already did my coffee, so morning coffee. Let's get that going. You know, just settle in. This one's so exciting. Obviously, you've read the caption, so I think you're like, get your Alexis, right? Okay. This is a super exciting and fun little really on a little situation that's gonna be super exciting. So basically, as I'm sure I do my captions directly after recording because I channel the message first. But essentially the premise of me coming on today, so I don't even have, like, you'll have to excuse me because this is really, my messages are always like living and timeless, but and I do want to come on, I'm like a broadcast institution, so a lot of what we do kind of is like breaking news, and I know you girls come to me for your cup of joe. So today, May is astronomical, May is monumental, obviously you knew that, but one of the biggest things that I wanted to help you guys out with, specifically the third week of May 2026 astrology, is pretty massive, without even a bunch of specifics, because like the transiting movements are super specific right now, and that's not really like important. What's most important is there are so many planets that are changing sign this week at the same time, and that conversation is what God told me to come in and open up and like be a champ. So what I was thinking is, today is Monday. I'm really trying to like tap in and pretend like I know what's going on. So today is Monday, I believe the 18th of May, 2026. What I was thinking, I was going to do a 7-day, so we're going through a 7-day portal, which I'm really excited about. And this week specifically, like I said, this Pluto retrograde, you're looking at a 6-month period of time, of which starts off with the powers completely inverting, right? So not only is it structures of power are they're invented out of a different realm altogether, Pluto Aquarius. So it's not Pluto Cap, it's not the establishment. It's an establishment that it's like the Galactic Federation now in terms of power structures. And so we've got this sort of foreign, bigger, more universal power that's like in the chat ski for the next 6 months. And so instead of it being like this transition of like the old world was the singular power, the singular structure, so like once it collapses we're like working with the old world paradigm to like rebuild something. No, the way that it actually happened with the age of Aquarius is like Aquarius since the dawn of time has always been the biggest truth. That's again why we're those guys, but it's like the biggest, most zoomed out, it's God's views, it's the Jesus view. That's Aquarius before we get back to Pisces, which is just back when everything connects. So Pisces just like goes back into that sort of black space, that sort of like, it's not even negative space, it's like when all the colors are added, that's Pisces. But Aquarius is that the pinnacle of consciousness. It's when humanity evolved into consciousness. So past Capricorn, past our 10th house, we don't have consciousness yet, right? That's where the matrix ends. That's where, Saturn time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. That's where that realm of tracking our progress as humanity is birthed in Capricorn. But when we get to Aquarius, we have consciousness, right? And so that's when we can make systems, we can innovate, things like that. So just a little quick overview of like what I'm kind of setting you guys up for, because people could be coming into this space without like any information on astrology. But I really was selected by God I embody astrology. I'm also like the ultimate wisdom of it, but I'm also like an embodiment of like what happens astrologically. So in order to help people become literate, what I really teach you is that astrology is actually like a definition for the encompassing of like what is actually happening. So it's not something to opt into. It's like a definition. It's like being like, I don't believe in astrology is like being like, I don't believe in the alphabet. Like the alphabet was created to help us cite what we were already doing, right? Language, like not like language, like again, and sort of like this sort of like bastardized like indigenous language, the original ways that we communicated, the mother tongue, all those things. When we started getting into cosmology all those, centuries ago, when these, philosophers and big thinkers first incarnated here to kind of start doing the like development of these concepts, it was never supposed to be this thing that fucking new age people are like, what's your star sign? Like, it's just ignorant. It just makes us look like really fucking dumb, because it's just like, we know you didn't even get the GED, because you just like wouldn't go to Spanish class and like go up to your Spanish professor and be like, I think it's pretty fucking stupid that you are like teaching us how to conjugate verbs. Like, I don't know if I believe in conjugating verbs. Okay, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? So anyway, so that's like where we're at. But So 7 days, 7 day portal together. This I want to maybe call it like the massive week of May. Like this week is so important because I really want to stress and emphasize that the decisions that we make, Taurus, right? Taurus season, Taurus season, Taurus season. I want to remind you guys that Taurus is that punch that comes from the incremental, right? So, Taurus could walk into a room looking like $1,000,000 and without having to have reached maybe what Capricorn has done, which is like more developed out materials. Taurus is that, well, if every day I wash my car and keep it up, even if it's like Taurus is like, can't nobody, Taurus is like, I'll never have a beater because it doesn't matter if my car is from 2004. What makes people call beaters is how dirty the car is, not how old the car is. And so that's kind of the Taurus land of like what is, remember, we're all the signs, right? You all connect with all this, but during certain seasons, that's what the disposition is like when you're in Taurus season, as a resident Taurus, which is all of us, that's kind of how it's going. It's like, I have to keep up, like you connect with value when you understand the bit by bit maintenance, right? Because Virgo is the accounting, Virgo is the sixth house. Virgo is where, once you realize like Taurus is like, okay, I got my Corolla, my 98 Corolla. Virgo's like, okay, and the oil change needs to happen every 3 months, and this is when this is due, and the car insurance is this. And then Capricorn is when it's like you pay off the fucking car note and the car is yours, right? The Corolla is yours. So while we're still in Taurus land, before we get there with all of our things and all of our ideation, wow, big crescendo, big things. One of the things that I love about this time of year is, to me, this is like my time to do cleaning because I feel like the Taurus Scorpio axis probably has to take the cake as like my favorite axis. And it's funny because shout out me and my dad, but I love the role that me and my dad played like in our family because we were, like I said, my family's pretty like dominantly fire. Like my family is definitely magic men. So like Wanda and Sherman really like brought in like such a concentration of like fire element into our family's natural disposition because they're the four babies. You know what I mean? They're like the fours, like 24 and 14 is like Wanda and Sherman, and then me and my daddy-o are on the 3 side of things. We're a little more fluid, So my mom and Sherman are very much like the masculine principles, and there's like a very big concentration in that. Love that for them. But then me and my dad are definitely like the fucking psychopathic like polarity. But one thing I love about my dad is I think his and I's connection. If you were to like meet us in contemporary like life, one of the things you would notice about our dynamic is like my dad like, if we're like at Lamb's Candies and it's time to like cut up the candy, I use this analogy. It's like I'm the cutter and my dad's like soldering off the end. And so that's what I love about Taurus, because like my Taurus moon and my dad's Scorpio sun, it's like when we're in the family dynamic, it's like I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off, my dad's gonna down you in peroxide. And that's kind of how the energetics of this time every year are always gonna feel. It's a great opportunity to do the thing like waxing the coochie, like, you know what I mean, or some shit. Now, I'm not suggesting you wax your coochie, but I feel like that's what Scorpio and Taurus, the communication there, because they're such starkly different processes, but they're also processes that I think they project a lot onto, and they're also processes that are like very much like Scorpio and Taurus. No, they're definitely like 2 types of zodiac signs that are like, some of us might have a role to play, like, right, like there's not always just like good roles, there's not always just like superheroes, there's like people who carry out processes. Like Taurus and Scorpio really acknowledge each other for the ways that like they're kind of like waste management, you know what I mean, like their roles are kind of like a job that has to be done. And so a lot of people have like, they can be kind of prickly when it comes to those sharp signs in general, just because they're functional. They really serve a function. So all of that to say, those are the kinds of energetics that you definitely would be resonating with at this time every year. So again, I try to, I've done probably, every type of astrological coverage in the archive at this point, because I just do it as the years have gone. And I did that on assignment because the 2020s have some of the most once in a millennia astrology. So there's so many phenomena that I'm really grateful that I covered for humanity so that they can remember, because they won't get to live under certain astrological configurations that we had in their lifetime, so they can know like what it was like and what the reality of the downloads were, and even receive the downloads through the screen in 4K. So you're all really welcome for that. But that's kind of just me giving you a 9-minute overview of like why I'm happy to be alive. So we're going to do a 7-day overview of the 3rd week of May. I think I'm going to open up with like, what is the general So I might do like a general spread because I genuinely don't have a download. I just got told that it's like a great time to come on and kind of structure you guys this week, because I think, like I said, I was kind of talking to you guys about what happens during Taurus season all the time, because I think we've had a lot of that. I feel like the Scorpio full moon, the Taurus new moon always do the really necessary job that we don't need. You don't even have to think too much about this time of year because it always sneaks up right on you, and it's going to do it every time. It's going to, like, again, peroxide vibes. Like, we're going to fucking down this in here and it's gonna bubble out all the infected whatever and clean out the cut. It's like that. It's just that time. And again, I had a Tybo mom and then I had a peroxide dad. That's how I would describe it. My mom is going to force me to do Tybo with her every single day. She owned every single production Billy Blanks has. That was like her influencer for sure. Billy Blanks was like, Wanda Taylor's like who Billy Blanks, like that. My mom, like, one of the things when I was a kid, I was always thinking, like, every Mother's Day or Christmas, I was like, oh man, I wish we could like get my mom like a guest spot on, like, as like a backup like participant in one of Billy Blanks' like live sessions and recordings, because we were like really big on Tybo. So shout out Billy Blanks. But my dad, peroxide dad, like, he's a freak of nature. Like, and mind you, my brother, dumb Aries, so a lot of open cuts, like a lot of accidents as a kid. So anytime a cut was coming around, my dad is like, get the peroxide. Like, that's his ginger ale. Like, oh, you have a headache? Should I get the peroxide? And we should just like fucking air out that cut and see. And then he would be like, let's watch it bubble. Like, I remember I have a lot of like very distinct memories living in our mornings before school, elementary mornings before school, when we only had like the basic access channels, and so I'd be watching Sailor Moon, and then usually that would be like a weird time when my dad would be like, if I had cuts, because I was a kid, so I'd come home and like the cuts I would get from like elementary school, I was like that the morning when Sailor Moon was on at like 6:30 a.m. and I'm like sitting on the edge of my dad and my mom's bed, and he's like, here, let me like fucking and see whatever. So anyways, that doesn't even fucking matter. But yeah, those are the sensations right now, for sure. So we're gonna jump into this. We're gonna do a spread. Thanks for letting me yap. It's all good, because at this point, we do our little sessions, we do our little thing. So, good for you guys. But I'm really grateful, because I feel like a lot of like my directorial efforts, which obviously everything under Tethered Studios gets housed here, but I will always be so grateful to the Holy Cow for saving my ass, because she's really the only one who ever has like what I would say, like, in times when I really, because like I said, productions require so much of the divine for me. It's really nice because the Holy Cow is a channel for Tethered Studios that we can really rely on, and I'm so glad we invested in spiritual programming as like our first, like, something that we can let people know, like, we'll always be here. And it's also kind of about honoring God for me, because I do want people to know, like, this is a godly institution. That's what this is. That's who we're aiming to make proud of with the work we do here. So shout out to the Holy Cow. I am also the Holy Cow, but like, shout out to me as the CEO, telling it to me, the person who works with Tethered Studios, but also shout out to Tethered Studios for like giving me, Alexis, the Holy Cow, a platform to do what is my real calling. Like, the thing that I want you guys to know about my channeled spiritual messages is like, that's actually like my life's work. Like, it's like filmmaking and everything is like so true to me. It's like, it's truly an extension of myself, but beyond, I'm not really going to be known as Quentin Tarantino. I will literally be known as like more like a preacher figure. Is like the reality of it. Like, the thing that is really like the thing with me is like the public speaking thing, it just helps that I mop the floor in every category I touch. So it's like, you can go ahead and hang up your hat as a musician. I got that covered for you. You can go ahead and hang up your like hat as an athlete, a chef, all of it. So it's like, it is what it is, but like, my real call is what I do here. So just wanted to thank you guys for coming into this cozy, comfortable space with yourself and doing the reflection thing. Also, for the trust always. I know that, when we're leaving an old world structure where there might be like, go to a professional to see these things, or like do whatever, like, I have to develop a new sense of credibility. I'm not someone that believes like, I would never say like a doctor's a fraud or a jabroni or something. Like, no, like, education and like certifications are so important. So I do a lot of work on the back end to like write out also, like, as Taylor Studios, like, I will be writing out, like, a lot of, again, legislation. There's a lot of things I do, but I like, work for the Divine Council at a soul level. So, like, I'm also, not like you girls, but, like, I do a lot of legislation on behalf of Spirit, which is another big reason why the whole writer thing has to be done all the time. Because I'm also supposed to set up, like, what is the spiritual law going to be about how we're going to build, like, business, trade. So all these things are being done by me also. So it's not just the, like, individual endeavor of wanting to be a person who commits a purpose and does something. It's also, like, I have a bigger role to make sure that when all the people with purposes want to do that, they have that type of structure. So me and my husband really paint much broader strokes at a soul level. I'm really great to contribute at all. But I want you guys to know there's a lot of hats that I'm always wearing all the time that I can't even express to you how many fucking things come out of my vessel. Like, there's so many moving fucking parts out of my vessel all the time. But I'm always, so this is, I hope you know, this is the space that I actually, like, for example, I would probably say I'm the worst technical filmmaker. Unfortunately, being a Black woman has fucked that up for me. I don't think I am anywhere near as competitively, technically tactile as I should have been, had I not been a nigger. Unfortunately, the art form has been desecrated by white men. So unfortunately, like, yeah, I'm not a competitor in that. I am a documentarian, so, like, my films stand up hands down, because they're ordained by Spirit for me to make them. But they are, again, we've kind of forfeited the production aspect of a lot of things, unfortunately, due to the circumstances of, like, my karma and, like, where society is and, like, what Black women can do from here to there. It's not that I'm limited. I have the technical background. I have been making films for two decades. To be honest with you, I'm pretty much, for people who also have 2 decades of time as, like, a director and filmmaker and have the, like, archive of shit to show, I'm actually fairly young for my peers and for my class. Like, I feel like people who have 20 years on them are probably definitely, like, maybe 20 years older than me even. And so I feel very fortunate. I had a very, very early start in a very highly, like, proficient media tech space. So I was definitely, like, the kid in the fucking trench coat in, like, media rooms that I should probably, like, I'm not gonna say I should have been in there. I should have absolutely been in there, but I was definitely, like, the kid with the, like, little kid, I'm too young to be in here, I don't know what's going on. So not that, but I will go toe to toe with any, I'm the best. There's nobody writing like me. There's not supposed to be. And so, cause I'm the motherfucking voice, I'm the megaphone for G-O-D ski. And you girls can't be, the thing about it is the best of anything would be the people who channel God, not the people who channel self. So you can get really good at your skill, but the top tier people are the people who can channel God's word. But there are also stipulations to that. You can't just be, like, self-proclaimed, like, I channeled God on this. No, you didn't. In order to channel God, your vessel has to be prepared. So again, I don't tell everybody to go vegan for any reason. I'm vegan for spiritual purposes because I want to have better art than y'all. I want better art than you guys. For why? Why? I want to have better art. I want God to give me better downloads, but you have to be lighter. Your literal density, you can't, most of you are too dense to channel the stuff me and my husband channel. That's why your albums don't fucking come close to where we are. We are about 5 million years in the future in terms of everything we do. So I do suggest that. I said, if I open up the space. I want artists to go as far as they want, but I really want to see you guys really tap into a more enlightened space, because I think your work will really just improve in terms of, like, the subject matter you can tackle. Because again, you're not going to be able to channel anything further than where you actually are in your spirit. So now that entertainment has really kind of collapsed, we understand that, like, while something can be extremely entertaining, it doesn't mean that it's that complex of a concept. And over on T-Stu and DBR, the complexity is crazy. Our work is not for the stupid individual. That's why we have to do so much education along with our art businesses, because you wouldn't even be able to understand what we're saying. We would remain hidden unless we became educational institutions as well. So just really excited about all of that information. I feel like I'm allowed to talk. I feel like sometimes I think, like, oh, I'm not serving you guys enough, but I think a lot of times you guys are just like, I like to share my safe space. So guide, lead, just do it. So thank you guys so much. I love every single one of you. I'm having an amazing time. I'm really also just, Taurus season makes me think about the ways that I really stay true to myself, because, like, there are parts of me that really have been advocating. Like, during this new, I think it's just like a 29 thing, like the way that God has upgraded my spirit and things, I feel very much like I really honor my moon placement, because my moon placement is, like, very honest. I think, to be honest with you, my Taurus moon is probably the most prominent aspect of my true personality. Like, if someone met me, I feel like the Aquarius sun is like, the Gemini rising, yeah, but like my real the like peace and love hippie, like I'm too like slow and chilled out to even really care. That's totally my Taurus moon in the 12th, like the Miss Esoteric, like Miss Esoteric, yeah, that vibe is like definitely my Taurus moon. And I feel like, ironically, I get a lot of projections because, again, like my ego self is very much like humanitarian. A lot of people feel really connected to that, Alexis. But the real Alexis is like very deeply, I mean, a 12th house moon is like someone who, like, in order to get, like, my inner world is like floors down. It's like it's like the core of the earth. Like, in order to get to the, like, I have a lot of depth. I think that you girls know that, obviously. Like, I was called to do this profession. In order to have a profession like this, where you're working with humans, you'd have to have a lot of depth of experience. And so I definitely have that. And you know, I'm probably one of the most emotionally intelligent people I've ever known. Definitely. Yeah, I did die like a million times for it, though. I don't say this, you don't get a cookie for being like super emotionally intelligent. I just mean, it's just the facts of like what's happened in my life. But I'm really grateful because I'm at a point where that gets repurposed, where it's like I've shared all my stories, and I did all that so that I could finally look at what all the stories I keep wanting to share with people are. And I keep wondering why I don't want to share it. And I had that I had that breakthrough. I was like, I keep wanting to share it with like, oh, sorry. And I feel like I answered it. You know, I answered it with the archive. I answered it with this archive as well, where it's just like, I share the stories because now I kind of like understand like my purpose. Now I understand that it's like, oh, I've been through a lot, like, and God had reasoning for it. I'm not just telling random moments. I'm talking about very strategic initiations, and that it just really makes you feel deeply protected and held and loved when it's like, oh God, you put me through a lot of pain because you designed me to be a very strong person, and you can't get into strength without the journey to strength. And so yeah, I'm like retiring my hat as like God's like weakest soldier, because actually I'm like mad buff. So I'm mad buff. That's why you girls looking like over here, looking like Metairie, like Alexis, you're just right. So really cool. Let's tap into some messages. I've already got my decks split. Actually, let me just go ahead and, I don't think I shuffled, so. But yeah, I love you guys. I think you guys know me. You're like, and you know what else I want to shout out my mom for? The sort of no production, well, specifically with the Holy Cow and Virgo St. North Node, like my spiritual messaging, when I do the one-on-one person shit, development shit. Ooh, the Seven of Swords just sneaked out. Interesting. But a lot of this is like super my mom's energy. She's like a real like desert tone Sagittarius, like sand tone Sagittarius. And I feel like the energy that's on the inside of one of my readings, if you knew my mother, which my mom was like everyone's mom, because everybody has lived at our home at one point in their life or another, like everyone that we've ever known, hundreds of kids. My mom would just like, she's that kind of girl. She's like, I love kids. She's like the type of person that like wanted to adopt. She really didn't want the pregnancy journey. Again, I am very true to the women in my family. They truly love mothering. They genuinely also really love kids. They actually hate the fucking fact that the kid had to come from them. Like, my mom is so honest with me about, like, she really resents me. It's not even that she really resents me, but like, she objectively would really resent the parts of slavery in the patriarchy, the parts of slavery, the parts of pregnancy in the patriarchy that are just actually slavery. Like, the way that, another little aside, but like my mom and my grandmothers and my great-grandmothers and my aunts all really the one message they told us, they really made clear to me, was like, it's actually a slavery system. Like, many of them reflected on, they were all single mothers, obviously. And I feel like 99% of mothers on planet Earth right now are actually single mothers, because we're still under patriarchy. So even if you have a divine union, it's functioning and being siphoned from the patriarchal, like, capitalist fucking bullshit that we're leaving. And so either way, a lot of really divine unions even were preyed on, because you got into the divine union and then the timing of when you had your child is like made up. It's actually like timed so that the US government can get more from you being a family in terms of taxes. So it's really propaganda. It's like really sucky that a lot of people think it's like this deep, beautiful, like, oh, they're married, I saw this coming, they were gonna get married, they were gonna have kids eventually. But that safety that we rest in is actually derived from like federal government propaganda. And you'd have to be a Texan to understand the type of like invasiveness of like a federal government. Like, I feel like Texans are the guys that deserve a lot of fucking, I just feel like collectively, like the common American should really look to Texas historically and be like, well, thanks for always saying something, keeping the like extremity of the checks and balances of like, we can't let a national organization almost act as a foreign entity on its own soil though. And I feel like in a lot of ways, Texas was kind of the only anti the concept of what like Texas had a very big rejection of like what the colonizers were coming to America to do and to make it America. And Texas really pushed back because Texas was having this conversation of like the indigenous people that were there, the territories with the southern border being moved and defined in the 1800s as well. And then also dealing with the fact that like there's these new generations of Texans that are being created every day, especially with this boom that we were going to see with like the Industrial Revolution and whatnot, where there's all these people now that are native to Texas, and they were and it was coming so quickly to such a big region that had such a natural shaping and border. Like the shape of Texas is so, that's why everybody tattoos. It's like, duh. I can't act like I don't have Texas tattooed on me. I do. Like, I don't know how to explain it to you. It's like, I don't know why we would do that shit. We know the fucking origins of this country. I'm an indigenous guy, but I like literally live Texas because it's a God's plan. So anyways, but what I'm talking about with all of this is just like, we really have to think about that. And we have to challenge, like, you guys literally sit up here and you get on Instagram thinking that you're a free thinker, and you're like actually not a free thinker at all. Unfortunately, you are a sheep. And I have to let you know that because I really actually want to protect your right to actually make a choice, but you can't even make a choice if you're not being presented enough education about what's even available. Because I was listening to one of my girly readers doing like personal reading this morning, and she was just talking about how I'm one of these people where it's like, dude, you are going to be known as the person because of how my success story was just like, I really stuck to my guns with that. Like at every turn, someone was always going to tell me like, this is how you got to do it if you want to get this goal. And they know I'm super goal oriented and they know I want to get my goals. But every turn, the T2 mantra, if it feels bad, stop. I started that. Like, if it feels bad, stop, just stop, just stop, just stop. But that was, I'm very much known because I'm a big shot caller, but I move on a really crazy intuition, like on intuitive information. I do not use capitalism or the data from the third dimension and the old world paradigm at all in my decision making. And a lot of times that makes me look like a very irrational person, very Uranian, very unpredictable, very like, I feel uncomfortable. But if you have an actual connection with the divine, you understand exactly that I am the iron that's striking because I am hot. So it is what it is. But yeah, that is definitely like the vibe right now, I would say. Just through and through, it's such a beautiful time. So this third week, these are all the things that I'm catching you guys up to, because I feel like the third week, I feel like last week, all my chickadees like loaded my boat. And I told them, I said, my ship is going. If you want to get on my ship, this is the dates. This is the time we close the drawbridge. This is the time we're going to head out. And I feel like now this week, for the next 7 days, we're going on a little cruise liner, the little T2 cruise. Because I'm going to take you guys from here to there, to the new world. And I feel like all my guys, which I'm really excited about, I'm really proud of you guys. Just give me some time. I got like so much going on. I think that's why I'm spending like 27 minutes talking about just like how much I'm always doing, because I think you guys have finally met up with me to where you can actually understand like, whoa, that's my CEO and that's my president. Yeah, I get it now. That's my favorite author. That's my favorite musician. I get it now, because she was always doing that. But I tried to tell you guys, I was like, one day you'll look at me and you're like, you're going to have a completely different understanding, because you probably are, whatever. And the last thing I'll say that I wanted to give myself flowers for on the broadcast while I'm doing this, because I was thinking about this while I was driving on my husband. Another really huge, see, and there it goes, trying to like slip my mind. Whatever, it'll come back to me. But yeah, so long story short, just very proud of the work that I'm always doing. But I think that now that everybody's kind of like on board and they've been disillusioned from like what is a lie and what's the truth, I think that a lot of people are just kind of like, yeah, we did what we had to do. We're in our personal cycle. But a lot of people are like really looking up at me right now, because they're like looking at me in a way that's just like, I didn't, it's like, again, being unconscious is kind of hard because you're always going to be in alignment. But it's like when you really wake up, you're like, oh shit. Like, and I told you guys, I had a really hard time when I awoken, because it was just like when I got tapped by my spiritual brothers in Seattle, shout out my guys, the thing that I really, like, they really held me through was like, I was so disgusted, like obviously the secondhand embarrassment, but like also like just so disgusted with like how my unconscious self would like really affect what you see now. And that's what I was gonna say. So one of the reasons that my husband's business and I and my business are valued so much by 29 by the divine counsel and by God. And the worth of the businesses is astronomical right now. Has to do with my prototype phase. And so something I want to also just say for young entrepreneurs who are developing a business the way that I did, which was kind of in the void space. So like for me and Dennis, Dolphin Boy Records and Tethered Studios, obviously for anyone, everything is a remembering. Like, again, when you go on this journey with me, you're going to realize that life is not so much about, it's not a creative force necessarily. It's a recognition. It's a recall. You are really like always just one signal. So this is why your natal energetics is basically telling you what and your antenna broadcasts, right? Okay. If I'm Aqua Sun, Taurus, Moon, Gemini rising, like that's where like, there's my frequency mixed with my soul and all the other things, right? All these aspects, but that's like, that thing is out. And so a lot of times, as we were getting initiated into like, it's time for you to start these, destined and fated, developments in our relationship while simultaneously building out ourselves and simultaneously building out like our businesses and things like that. It was definitely a remembering thing. Versus like, let me think really hard and just like make something up, right? And so with T Stew, and this is a formula that I took credit for. I helped my husband get to a label, to like even creating a label with it. He was an artist resident at Tethered Studios for 2 years before the residency was like expanding him so much as an artist, and he was getting so much out of the spiritual one-on-one that we were doing as he was a member of Tethered Studios. He went through Tethered Studios University. He did all of the curricula. He presented his own thesis. He created his own degree. He wrote it out. We have all it formalized. So he went through all of that. And Dolphin Boy Records was something that was able to develop out of someone who did not even really remember that that was something he was supposed to do as an artist, as a person ever. So he's one of my success stories that we can see, because anyone who looks at Dennis's journey can be like, when he linked up, like Dennis was always the value that he was, but there is absolutely something true to be said about like, Alexis is so right. Even with your organic slab of clay being phenomenal, education and refinement are all of our responsibilities. So you can't be a victim. Like you can't be a victim that like your expression isn't at its highest timeline, because I'm just going to let you know, for everyone, no one is just like going to wake up in their highest, because we're slaughtering and enslaving children. The Buddha baby gets destroyed in our current contemporary capitalism timeline. So there's a point where in capitalism, they tell you when to have the baby. They tell you how many to have. Then they tell you when we're going to kill the baby spirit on a timer. And then the baby's going to go through the brainwashing phase. And then once they're brainwashed into believing the soup of the nuclear family unit and family planning per capitalism, these broken baby Buddha babies are going to make sure to have more broken baby Buddha babies. And that's what you guys keep doing. So I want to stop that, because the baby isn't supposed to be enslaved or murdered. So the Buddha baby is supposed to be able to walk with you. And that's one of the things that the Morning Stars represents for you guys. It's like, you guys look at me, Dennis, and you're like, no matter what, if you're just looking at an objective human, if I had to look at like a baby picture of Dennis, and then I had to look at how adults age, Alexis and Dennis are like defying things. And you could call it vampire, you could call it whatever you want to you can be weird about it, but it's actually like formulaic. I always want to let you guys know, like the face card and stuff, like the vitality, the skin, the color, like everything has to do with my lifestyle, 100%. It has to do with what goes in and what comes out, okay? It has to do with my emotional, spiritual, metaphysical well-being all together and how that's all working. And I'm very transparent about all of that, because I want you guys to be able to know you can actually have the results out of your life that you want. It just requires this sort of idea of like not having one-track mindedness and understanding that there are a lot of routes, a lot of solutions and routes to solutions to get an outcome. And capitalism wants you to know there's one outcome, there's one solution, there's one pop star, there's one black person, there's one white person, there's one ideal president, there's one ideal mom, there's one ideal, and that's not true. None of that's true. There's one type of relationship dynamic, there's one gender, there's one, none of that's true. None of that's true. We are going to go to a place where we're not even going to judge people. We're not even going to need to, again, capitalism, you're like telling people like, I'm straight, I'm gay, I'm this, or I don't believe in that, or I'm Muslim, or the disposition that we're really about to go to is like, we are really about to retire that altogether. What would it even matter? Let's just all assume people are going to do what they want to do in every moment. That's it. There's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no judgment, because something that people aren't going to be able to say about me in my future and like how my life looks is like, well, if you couldn't fucking tell, you fuck ass fucking Bratz doll, I'm not fucking under late stage capitalism. I'm not gonna let the fucking federal government tell me how to make them a fucking tax fucking rebate. Like, no, I'm not about to do that. And I'm definitely not gonna use a child just to help the federal government get some fucking tax fucking scratch bag. That's a sacrificing of a child, because you're talking about bringing a human life, which requires all this human focus and human needs and resources, in to supplement a completely separate sector, which is like the federal government's money. It's disgusting. And then we're going to call it social services, and we're going to talk about, and we're going to split it up into two parties. You guys got to wake up. You got to wake up. You know, of course we need a fire department. You know, of course the niggas need to go to school. Of course we need HEB. But you girls are not going to fucking spoon feed us back the shit we already know. Right? You're not going to do that. And you're not going to get us to fucking put children in danger just to fucking check off that women had the baby under 35 like you told them to. Because if you get women to have babies under 35 quickly when you tell them to, not even because you're again, they're just fucking biting off the fucking medical reports of like, oh, it's, well, you know, you don't want to be too old. But the real reason they're telling you not to be too old to have a baby isn't because they're concerned about your experiencing and making it out off the operating table after labor. Mind you, Black women still with the highest fucking birth mortality rates. They're not concerned with you not dying on the table. They're concerned with you getting on that table when they tell you to, so you go down the path they want you to go down. And now you're sitting here after that Scorpio full moon because you and your baby daddy split the fuck up, didn't they? Yeah. You're like, it's not even an option to be with this nigga. But you want to know who the real culprit is? It's not even your baby daddy. They wanted you two to kill each other. To be like, fucking, what the fuck? And you guys have been going at it. It's not even that nigga. You know who really played both of y'all? They wanted you to believe in desirability politics. They wanted you to be like, think about Eurocentric beauty standards, because we just have to we have to pick one thing that everybody aligns to, so we can make everybody feel enough guilt and shame so that they pick all these partners denying their spirit. Because the partners that they feel all this pressure to go towards, or the jobs they work, the timing that everyone's on is behind this pressure of this machine that I'm going to call out right now. And the people that I call out in my writing are the niggas that I know work for these demons direct. A lot of these niggas co-opt that they're for the revolution, and they're actually holding up some of the stronger freedom fighters under their shitty capitalist movements. I'm calling out every artistic institution, every educational institution, every political institution that isn't even really standing on the stuff that they're saying, because everybody says that they're about whatever their agenda is. But that's not even what I'm saying. I'm asking you, are you team old world liar, or are you new world truth teller? Your truth could be like, I murdered that nigga accidentally, my bad. That could be your truth. But the real judgment comes from you sitting up here lying about what the fuck you did and where you been. So I don't want you in the liar system anymore, because you had to lie about how much you like that man. You had to lie about how much you like that woman. You had to lie about how you like to have sex. You had to lie and act like, yeah, I just be stroking my dick. You have to lie about wanting to go to strip club. You got to lie about all this stuff. That ain't even, I mean, those are activities, but everybody's telling you how a man interacts with his body. Everyone's telling you how a woman interacts with her body. Everybody's telling you what that even means. Based on what, though? Capitalism. Not on biology, not on science, not on nature, not on God. On the niggas who need to accumulate dollar bills. This isn't even about the U.S. Treasury and Bureau. No, it's not even about them guys neither. It's about the guys who are like, I can't make the abundance I want happen. I'm going to develop capitalism so I can siphon from guys who are capable. And that's where they're siphoning and destiny swapping. So we're all on the same team. Red, white, blue, black, white, Democratic, black, it doesn't even matter. We're on the same team. Because there are guys out here who can't even print them in without murdering your babies and enslaving you. Stop those guys. Stop those guys. Stop those guys. Those are the real guys. You know, you want to talk about rap beefs? You want to talk about beefs between people? The beefs aren't even about it's not even about the beef. The opposing sides that you're seeing of any war right now are going to be against two parties. One of the parties is trying to uphold the old world. One of the parties wants to break free and go to the new world. And the old world is going to buck up and start saying all this shit about how it's the standard, right? Well, you can't touch me because I'm the standard. Everybody knows that in our old system, I checked all the boxes. That's why I'm elite and you're just full of shit. that crumbles because everybody's walked away. They can't even, right? The K-Dot bots can't even sit with their megaphone anymore because everybody's like walked away because they're over there in the new world. No one's in the old world to even listen to you talk about your abuses of power. No one cares, you know, because I already told you guys, you're going to have to mourn the fact that whatever accolade you got in the old world doesn't even matter anymore. So I hope it meant something for you. Keep the picture, but it doesn't have currency anymore because you're noticing now. You walk into rooms, you could be a 55-time Grammy winner and niggas are still looking at what you look like today. And if you in them busted ass jorts and them chacos, they going to look at you like what you look like. They don't care what you did in the old world. As I try to tell you girls, not too heavy on me. Some of y'all got drunk laughing at me being homeless. Okay, that's weird. That just, okay, Willie Lynch, just kind of makes you look like you're the type of nigga that calls me a cotton picker off camera, right? Like, what the fuck? Is it that funny that a black woman is like impoverished, enslaved, and left for dead on the street? That's like a normal narrative. I don't think I was doing anything that weird for my demographic. But you girls had a field day with it. Only to realize today, I'm 40 minutes in, I already told you girls, you're SOL. Yeah, shit out of luck, because it was going to happen to you too. It already happened. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is like, you watched it happen in my life because I chose to document it. Because a lot of the thing is, you guys went through the trauma too of the collapse of the old world, but you were glazing yourself all the way through it. You were acting like it wasn't as bad as it was. So, I love that I can just like freestyle for 40 minutes and you guys... And I love you guys because, you know, I really do these sort of session style, you know, very therapeutic environments where we're just having these discussions where we really like, we heal and we work through or whatever. But I'm like the sliding scale, you know, I'm like the sliding scale therapist. It's like, pay what you can, pay whenever, you know what I mean? And in that way, I feel like so many of my clients have always really reflected back to me that it's like, I think, yeah, that's why I never really put a dollar amount on anything, because it's like, I think a lot of people would just say there's not really a dollar amount I can even say, because like a session that I had with you completely made me 30 bill. So I don't even know how to explain that. You know what I mean? Like, it was like you gave me an idea or you inspired me or you healed something in me that like would not have stopped looping otherwise. And so I don't even know how to quantify that. So I feel really grateful right now because I'm really grateful to give unquantifiable love. That's what I'm proud of. I'm just proud to wake up and be like, I can't even put a price on how much love I'm about to give you. So I feel like very loving. I feel like anytime I'm not just jumping right into the cards or whatever, it's because there's parts of myself that I forget people like to talk about, you know? And I'm constantly publicly speaking, but also constantly publicly speaking to myself as the audience member, which is again, shout out Rick Malleus. Thank you so much. Now I'm gonna start crying. I'm really grateful to like, there were like a lot of men in my life that I think were the only ones that could really get through to me about like corralling my energy and being a little more emotionally balanced. And it was definitely like masculinity that allowed me that, like, you know, I think about like, I had a private drum instructor for like 10 years of my life, and he was really foundational to me, you know, because he taught me a lot about discipline. I was not a hard worker. I was a little snowflake, sissy bitch girl that the patriarchy spewed out. And I was just so shit girl, gendered capital G. And I was honestly like useless, like, because being a girl kind of just means being stupid and being like a warm incubator for someone's nut, you know? And I was actually like in practice, just like living that out. And like when I was 10, I started drumming and I started percussion, and, you know, percussion's hard. I mean, if you've ever, most music programs that are reputable, like most percussionists, like even to join percussion in 6th grade, if you have a reputable band program, typically you have to be someone who has had some sort of lessons, private lessons or something to get in. So I'm very fortunate that my mom really always like would work 3 or 4 jobs just so like I could like have the private lessons that I needed to like bridge the gap. And I'm really grateful that she paid for my private lessons with people who like mentored me and like also like chose to like join my life as a family member to me, and not just like, you know, Robert, if you're out there, I love you so much. Like, thank you for, you really fathered me in a way that you really taught me how to be a man. You know, and I really appreciate that, because I needed drumming. I needed percussion. I needed drumming so much. There was so much brokenness in the feminine lineage of my ancestry, and those women needed to learn how to march to the beat of their own drum. And I don't know, marching drums is the hardest thing. I don't know how I had to march illegally. Like, our school got special permission because our school was so small that we literally just had like less than 80 people in our entire marching band. We were like a laughing stock for years until our school like got bigger. But when we first founded it, man, like, I was 7th grade marching with seniors. I was like playing tenors with seniors and getting like, and it was fucking, I was getting my ass kicked, dude. So it's like a 12-year-old marching with other 18-year-olds, and marching is so hard. It's like so hard. It's so hard for women. It's like, I just feel really fortunate. Like, it's such a hard skill to like memorize music and march with a 70-pound drum with booms in like sweltering heat in a fucking 4-piece cost suit, pretending to be a man so you can fucking be the heartbeat of an entire moving ensemble. It's like, I'm so inspired by that little girl who did that shit, and it's like insane. So just thank you to UT Drums. Just thank you guys for raising me and changing my life. And thank you also to my professor, Rick Malleus. It's like the coolest white Zimbabwean man I've ever known. It's a crazy guy. But he is the only reason I graduated college with like so many accolades. And if it wasn't for him, like, I don't think anyone would have known that I was like a genius artist at all. And I really appreciate the men that had to use their privilege to elevate certain people, that it's not their right to elevate them, but they knew that it was unfair, that they were like, I was always undiscovered because I was a Black and a woman. Like, no one ever saw my work, or no one would like know how like leading I was supposed to be at a soul level. And if it wasn't for some of these men, man, like, my first art exhibit, my solo exhibit, I didn't ever think I would ever even do a solo exhibit. I wrote my thesis, and then it got picked up by this curator who like fell in love with me. Like, she just got, some journalist like tipped her and told her to like come to my thesis, and she just showed up and was like, this needs to be reinstalled. I'm gonna call every single gallery in the city, and you just tell me which one you want to install this. And I was like, bitch, I don't want to install this anywhere. I fucking dropped out of college twice. I don't have any time. I'm taking 20 credits. Like, it's like, and destiny knocked, and like, I ascended, and I woke up, and this whole shit happened to me, and like, I like built a barber college. I don't even know, dude. Like, shit was crazy. Shit was crazy. So thank you so much to the men in my life that changed everything for me, man. Everything. Ugh. If you guys, like, God, I remember because you have to like meet with I had to meet with the head of our like journalism and comms guys, you know, throughout your thesis. And he like Rick Malleus was like assigned, he was my guy, and he knew me so well, but he was just like, Alexis, you're like the smartest student I've ever taught, but you're never in class, because I was always like working 3 jobs. And every time I'd have to like run between shifts to go run, fuck, I'm fucking late for my fucking hour thesis meeting with Rick. And he would just look at me, and he was like, Alexis, I'm gonna like put you on, you need to study autoethnography, you need to study yourself. And I just what the fuck, I wouldn't have any of this if it wasn't for those people like fucking being firm with me, you know. Thank you for being firm. So anyways, let's get into the May reading, shall we? So emotional. Shut up, you guys. I cannot imagine my life being any different. So, I just want you guys to know potential is always there, but it is so different when you are standing on the other side of your life experience where you're like, damn, that seed, that egg within me like has hatched. But it doesn't just hatch. It has to have the right temperature. It has to be incubated. And that incubation, man, that's what this archive is for. I want you girls to know how much incubation is going to have to be for you. You know, because people are going to know now, like, how you didn't do it nobody's way, you did it your way. How you still make it to the top without having to get to the top the way everybody else gets to the top. And I'm like, because I put in them hours. Y'all think it takes 10,000 hours? Bitch, that's, I don't know, 10,000. 10,000 hours light work. 10,000. You have to bump that up a few racks. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. That's what you talking about. So, that's what I do it for. You want it, you can have it. But I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't going to be able to cut no corners. Ain't no more of that cutting corner shit. No more gentrifying ways, brother. You can't cut no corners. The fuck is you talking about? So I'm saying, niggas who cutting corner and getting shit quick, they don't got shit. That's all. I'm going to tell you that right now. They don't got shit. Ain't no corners to cut. Anybody who's like, I didn't marry this man. I ain't been dating him but for 2 months, but the baby we just had, I'm the queen. That's all. Niggas ain't got nothing. They don't got nothing. Don't got nothing. These niggas with GEDs, maybe questionable, we don't even know. They don't got nothing. Don't give a fuck how many fucking Balenciagas you done bought, nigga. You don't got nothing. That's play money. I was making that shit. I was making them bands on Mall Madness back in the day. Girls don't know nothing about that. I was swiping credit cards you girls couldn't even understand back in the day. And her child was a big spender. Yes. I'm the generation that was raised on fucking coolmathgames.com. The fuck is you talking about? We was online. We was playing games. Matter of fact, I met Dennis. Me and Dennis dated when we were in 5th grade online. On Gaia Online. We were each other's fucking virtual partner in 5th grade. He lived in Georgia. I lived in Austin. And we was over there every night. We would meet up in 5th grade after school and date each other. Yeah. On Gaia. Yeah. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Know nothing about my webkins. Y'all don't know nothing about them fucking. Remember all we used to do was sit on the desktop and fucking do fucking makeup, Barbie makeup websites. That's all I used to do as a kid, bro. Yeah, it's on dial-up, straight up. Not even on dial-up, nigga. We be at school doing that shit because we ain't had no internet at the house. The fuck, not in the hood, girl. The fuck. It was a long time before we got that fucking 30-foot dial-up in the Taylor household. And Wanda was like, and don't be on it all night. No, I had to start winning stuff. In 7th grade, I started winning a bunch of shit from the Boys and Girls Club of America. I was like Youth of the Year every year in middle school. And I would be winning shit from fucking, was it Vince Young? When he opened his steakhouse, he like awarded me. He like opened his steakhouse and shit, and like, or some shit. I don't even know. Anyways, I used to win like hella, like Dell used to like, when they used to like drop new machines, new desktop technology, they used to send me one for free. That's how my family got all their computers. I always got to keep them in my room because I used to win computers all the time because I was a legend. So, more Alexis lore. Okay? So anyways, Boys and Girls Club know me. Go ask the Boys and Girls Club of America about Alexis Taylor. I was their Central Texas Youth of the Year. Yeah, every year, girl. Yes, me. Yes. And I didn't have to do nothing but go to after school care. See what I'm saying? I used to win shit for organizations just because my mom was poor. My mom was poor, didn't have no after, she couldn't afford no after school care. So I was at Boys and Girls Club every day after school so she could get off that paper at 6. Yes, girl. Yes. And I'd be over there and I'd be winning computers and shit just because I was a great participant. You girls don't know nothing about that type of time, though. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I think maybe 54 minutes in, you guys just wanted me to talk. So let's just see. I thought I was going to come in here and do 7 days. I'm going to still do it, but let's see. Let's just get the overview for this week. What is the current Monday morning? What's our vibe for this week? What is the overview? Okay. You see how this card flipped out? You see this? You see the card magic? You see how I just did that David Blaine shit? Okay. I'm just going to show you the card. I'm gonna show you the card that flipped. The fucking sun. What? Third week of May? What? It's like, sorry, bottom of the deck. What? So I started this off, and maybe that's why I got to go off for 54 minutes, because it's like the central sun of the universe has been forged. Because here's the thing. It didn't matter who placed the system, who people in what system, where, what, why, and how. If you have the codes, what is happening now is you are shining as a source. If you are in the new world, you shine like the sun. You are someone in the old world could move towards and see as like they have a whole universe that they're at the center of. And when karma backs that, Jesus, this is huge, you guys. I just want to say, like, the sun card, I feel like this week brings summer vibes. It's like summer vacay vibes. Yeah, because over the weekend the kids graduated. I feel like this is like, it's like summer, and summer is coming with this undertone of justice, karmic justice. I think it also has to do, remember how I told you the Seven of Swords jumped out earlier? All of the lies are completely exposed now. Starting today, May 18, 2026, every lie that has ever been said before, right now, if you'd like to know what the truth or what's the truth or lie, you have the access to figure that out. In fact, I would implore you, because this is our starting energy, I want you to really do that today. At some point, once you click off this, like, spend some time today really looking at, like, whatever in your personal life is being shown as, like, the two examples of, like, what's a truth vibration and what is a lie vibration. Because I feel like right now, the conscious light, the sun card, like, this is total illumination. This is like when the sun is out, when it's nothing but the sun archetype, there is nothing hidden. Nothing is hidden. And so I feel like the note that Spirit is saying is, like, starting this week, nothing will be hidden. No. The week is starting off, and the center energy is like the week of transformation that we're going to go through with all these celestial bodies changing sign at the same time. Because there's several of them this week that are transitioning to signs that will definitely be in communication and start a conversation that I'm going to talk about. But beyond the conversation, everything. And this is Tauran sunlight. This is Taurus's sunlight that's, like, illuminating this entire picture. And I think that it's also, like, from the pass off from Taurus sun to Gemini sun is also going to be something we're also talking about. But yes, there is total illumination, because there were, and I think up until this point, when you're outing lies, I think people might look at you and be like, it's kind of funny, because they're like, there's literally a line from Iceman the Trickers is just, like, talking about how it's like, you know, referencing something to the extent of, you know, I always know karma's on my side, but I also realize, like, she's blind. I think there's, like, a very big aspect of this where it's like, sometimes when you're fighting in God's spiritual militia, you're fighting non-truth, non-divinity. So you're fighting, it's really us against the liars. And so I think sometimes when people are looking at me, they think I switch sides, or I think a lot of people have had to have moments where they're like, and I will indiscriminately give you the same smoke if you don't tell the truth. And I think everyone who really loves me knows that. They know 100% that it's like, well, she's upset. Like, there's nothing, I don't even judge people about what you do. If you are not telling the truth, that's what's going to bother me. Because you're serving the author of confusion, and you're also throwing the universe out of balance. And so when karma has to, because I love justice in the Aquarian tarot, because maybe the eyes is open, right? Ain't nobody. And I feel like the same way that, okay, our justice system is built on lies. Our justice system actually it actually looks for freedom for liars. It's actually set up to allow corruption to go on exempt, and then to punish innocence, because you have to exchange innocence for the corruption that you're trying to pass as not corrupt, because the founders of this nation were corrupt in their founding of it. They didn't do it upright. So when they made their legislation system, they had to protect themselves. They were the protected group. And so, yes, they channeled God words. So you can look at our preamble, you could look at our Constitution, you could look at our Bill of Rights, you could look at our amendments. It doesn't even matter. You can look at any of those documents. They're still they're sort of channeling this like, oh, like one nation under God, like this is sort of a melting pot country. Da, 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 da. But in practice, the original guys that were coming and the jurisdiction they had was always about protecting the original identity of lies, right? Because they knew what they were doing. They were doing it out of divine time. They were doing it without relying on themselves. So it's not a problem to be like, we want to rebel from corruption within our own country and go find something new. Okay, but the problem is you didn't use your own labor, your own spiritual initiation during your own dark night of the soul to do that. You used other people. You involuntarily submitted Africans and other enslaved brown and black people around the globe to do the work that would be on you if you want to claim the destiny of we founded America. Because technically what Tethered Studio says is the white niggas did not found America. My niggas founded America. That's why I'm American as fuck. Because the real niggas who founded America are the ones who paid the spiritual price to build what is contemporarily here. I would argue that's black and brown people who did that. I mean, includes white people too. I mean, shit, there's a lot of niggas that is like lower, like, it wasn't even just like that, but I'm saying it's like, it's the involuntary labor that really propped up what is here, because I believe spiritually the founding fathers didn't stand by the initiation it took to get the face on the Rushmore, to get the face on, you get what I'm saying? They weren't technically the ones having to build it. So when Tethered Studios, for example, does the same thing, it's like, I want to rebel. I wanted to rebel against what I saw media as, and I wanted to rebel against the mother system, and I wanted to make something new. But I also had to document and take responsibility. I couldn't use other labor to own the destiny that I wanted to claim in the end. Like, I want to be known as the CEO of Tethered Studios, but I can't have other people do the heavy lifting and think that I'm going to be able to be like the guys and get a Mount Rushmore. If you want Mount Rushmore at the end of it, then you get what I'm saying? Everything has to be on the table. Everything has to be fair and just. Everything has to be conscious light. So what I will say is, this justice in the age of the Aquarian never had a blindfold on, which leads me to believe the original Lady Justice, the perpetuation in America being blind, that's getting swiped. Lady Justice is not actually blind, because what does blind mean? It means you can't see third dimensionally, but it actually, people who are blind, their other senses overcompensate for what they can't see here. So they have other sensory sensitivities that supplement the lack of vision, or the vision that you don't need. So we also don't, so blindness is also still a construct, or even, and this is where our vocabulary is going to super change, because we're seeing how loaded so many things are. When we think about the perfection of not the perfection, when we process something like a blindness, right, for example, we typically process the design and the concept of that experience, one, from probably the perspective of someone who isn't blind. Like, a lot of people who read the definitions of what experiences and what identities are, what things are, may not even be in those experiences, right? But the way that we think about contemporary blindness is just from the deficit. Like, you can't see, right? Okay, so I can't see, but you girls, that's what I'm trying to let you girls know, is you might have thought that this karma figure, Lady Justice in your life, it's like, well, she's kind of being erratic, or she's kind of moving up and down because she can't see. But I think what's getting proven in the end in the conscious light this week is that it's like, yeah, but if she couldn't see what y'all were doing, or what you were saying, or what was happening, don't you think that, like, because I think a lot of people were like, okay, this person is karma, but how can they know that the judgments are coming down? Like, they know that someone is like letting the chopper sing all the time, but they're like staying in their lane and they never miss. But it's like, it's almost like, how is karma, how is Lady Justice doing this though? Like, how are you, and they're not understanding. She has, and if anyone were to ever fucking blindfold me, or if my eyes were like underdeveloped for another reason, God is going to supplement you. That's what I try to say. No one with an active disability doesn't have an overcompensation. So for example, my dad literally can't even really stand or walk like without it hurting him. He can, but it doesn't feel like neutral space. So he has a lot of active disabilities, but what I always try to bring light to isn't some like, no, like you need to see his value. No, it's not even that, but it is that, like, you know, people with disabilities have a very strong concentration of some other place where that energy is being balanced. So that's kind of what I want to say is, like, you're 100% juiced up no matter what. Like, we all have our karma, and we all have things that are on our spirit and on our path to develop and evolve our soul, and that's really it. There's no victims, there's none of that. It's just like the stuff that would initiate you to do what God needs you to do at the end of the day, and it could kind of look like anything third dimensionally. But yeah, I just feel like if karma were to ever be blinded, you do just need to know that if you were someone, for example, that was like fucking with Lady Justice, and this is like a side note, but if you were like fucking with Lady Justice because you kept being like, well, she can't see, you can't see this, so like you don't really know what the fuck you're talking about, or like I feel like so many people with me, they're like, what the fuck are you doing, and I was like, well, that's how you know you guys are the first ones that are going to die in the race war. Yeah, absolutely, because you don't have a connection to God, because God is not visible. Like, I mean, there are ways, there's the visibility, but you guys don't even believe that the tree is God. You don't see that. You've never done a psychedelic. You don't know that. You've never had that experience where it's like, there's no difference. It's like, again, you girls didn't even go to 10th grade biology. You didn't even like study like the human eye. Like, do you even know how the camera lens is exactly? It's like, we talk about this all the time, you know, our Jewish brothers and sisters really wrote this out for us. Like, you know, Kabbalistic knowledge really shows you, I mean, even cosmology, it's all like the cosmos, like all the zodiac signs like govern parts of the body. You can do all this stuff, astrocartography, it's all the same thing on top of each other. Tree of life, it's all the same thing, right? So if you couldn't tell that, that's like what's happening. But yeah, I think there was a lot of people who are liars, but their whole bit, because they were avoiding the fact that like you're about to die right now in this spiritual war immediately off top, first to go, first draft pick, because you are a liar who like literally is sitting here thinking about I feel like there were people who are there, like I feel like liars are getting justice, but they're kind of like been deflecting the justice that they keep getting, because they're like, this can't be the justice coming for me because they can't see this. How they couldn't see that. So there's almost this idea of like, how you can see that. And only for the universe, the 3rd week of May, there's some shit that came out that's like, well, there's that karma that you was asking for. I think a lot of liars are like, nah, you can't see, so how do you even know? And then it's like, yow, that's awkward. She actually did see karma. That's what I'm trying to tell you girls. There was, even if it's like, you think I don't see, I have, like, the way that God will do me is like, anyone who comes in alignment with me on a certain type of vibration, I know they're here because they need karma. Like a lot of times, again, there's a lot of times I just go on mission to like destroy something, like to be like, I have to come here and tell truth, and it's going to destroy this because this is the house of lies. So a lot of times me and Dennis will do that. You'll come across people who get put on our path, and it's like, my truth is just supposed to dismantle your lie. But I think that's what's wrong, is like a lot of people up until this 3rd week thought that they could get away, because again, it's not about flesh and blood. So like, you're literally thinking like, haha, I'm fooling all these people. They don't know, like you're playing all these games. Like these people don't know I'm a liar and I'm getting it. And they don't know that this person don't got evidence and they can't put me down. Girl, you're not dealing with people. God is going to take that breath away from you tonight. Like, I really want to pray for some of y'all, because y'all are not going to make it this 2nd round. Whenever that 2nd round of the fucking bubonic plague want to come in here, you girls are not going to make it. Because you have to understand, some of you don't have the immune systems that you were supposed to have, because there are going to be illnesses that come out in the future that like are indiscriminately swiping people's lives. Swiping them. They've always been there. They've always existed, but they'll just swipe your life. You ain't never read a biblical story where they said you need to put that fucking lamb's blood cross over your door, lock your door, put a fucking some salt on the bottom, and make sure you don't open it up, because if you don't do that, you dying tonight. Like, it's shit like that. So that's on the route. And it's going to be indiscriminate because you guys didn't build a light body, right? I tried to get you guys to become crystalline instead of carbon on the inside, but you brothers are carbon as fuck. And that's why you sat up here and you thought, ha, 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 ha. But you never saw, you've never seen me do this stuff to you. You've never seen me lie on you. So I'm going to keep getting away with it. And then 3rd week of May comes in and it's like, wow, this is humbling. The liars, not only did they just get blasted off the face of this earth, but it's just like by week 3, everyone is just like, I think God really handled it, because I feel like for me, I could just use myself as an example. Like there's ways where I'm like representing karmic justice, right? Right now, or like I let myself be an extension because I live in truth for justice, like Lady Justice, right? Freedom and peace. And one of the ways that I bring liberty unto myself is, you know, I work closely with God, and a lot of times God like will give me fair warning, like, hey, these people are gonna come at you and then they're gonna try to play you. They think you're dumb. Play dumb. Just don't let just be like, oh yeah, let them run their little whatever. Because what a lot of people like really like I just feel like they really miss about like me is that like, I may not have seen you do it this time, but I've been around for a long time. And funny enough, I don't actually, and one thing I think many of you are learning about now, I don't speak on anything that I haven't actually like engaged with, like straight up. Like even when I'm talking about things that you wouldn't think I've engaged with a lot of shit. That's where you don't know anything about me. I really have been around a lot of niggas. I've really been around a lot of you girls for a long time. So I have a lot of data. I could tell you where I was. Yes, I can. I can tell you where I was, when, what, where, when, how. Yeah. All that. So I think, again, one of the things that people think is funny is like when God cloaks me, people don't, the beautiful part about it is like, it's almost like I've always had the same destiny. So anyone that has ever met me is like, Alexis Taylor was like a shooting star. She was always an overachiever, center, life of the party, most successful, biggest, like most connected, like genuinely. I think my biggest legacy is like most people genuinely are particular, and I was like a very unifying force, because most people would be like, Alexis Taylor is my best friend, and I'm not really likable like that. Like, I'm not a people person, but Alexis Taylor is like my deep close personal like family member. There's like millions of people, I'm not even kidding with you at this point, straight up. It's just been a lot of relationships in my life, a lot of relationships. Yeah, a lot. It's like all my life has been Pluto in my 7th house. A lot of transformative relationships. It's beautiful. It's one of the best blessings of my life. But I've seen a lot of things, and I think people are very surprised because that's what I'm gonna say is I think people knew you were serving up karma, but I think they thought you were blind. I think they didn't. You were close. You were somewhere looking at something, taking information on it that people, and God had you cloaked, so people literally didn't even know you were like there. They're like putting 2 and 2 together, like that was you were there for that. And in a lot of ways you're getting a lot of respect, because it kind of shows like how long you've also been committed to things. Like even my ops that I'm like outing right now can't even get mad, because I'm a truer fan of their work. Like I have evidence that like, yup, I've been following you since your art career began, actually. Yeah, while you were here playing games with me in 2026. I remember when you started making little raps when you was 17, and I was buying and listening to your shit back then. Y'all didn't even know. But that's why in 2026, when I'm giving you this smoke because of your lack of accountability and how you serve the author of confusion, I'm going to pull up how, remember 7 years ago? Remember what you did? That was you. Yeah, I remember when I was fatter and uglier and blacker, and remember when you black girls weren't in fashion, so you thought I wasn't in the room when I was in the room? I was definitely in the room. I was even loud in the room. A lot of times I was performing in the room. I was the center of attention in a lot of the rooms. Y'all were racist and sexist. That's why you didn't see me. But I was there. I talked to you in person. Right? You don't remember? Oh, you don't remember me being this sexy and the bad bitch? Yeah, because I had to get away from your demonic spew, your negativity. That's the only reason I'm a bad bitch today. But I was there. So I think there's this big discussion right now where it was like, ooh, we thought someone, because I think there's almost like a way that people are going to invalidate the karma that you're trying to demand right now by being like, well, you can't prove that because you weren't there. And it's like, actually, I had eyes and ears all over the situation. And that came out. And now I just feel like we're sad. I feel like this is a week where Taurus energy, high degree Taurus energy is like, okay, so we're sad. Okay, so let me shut the fuck up. So let me stop. Let me stop, because obviously I'm off. You know what I'm saying? So that's huge. You're fucking kidding me. You're fucking kidding me. And another thing. Yeah, back to the receipts. There are divine unions that are getting massive karmic justice and are finally able to start their journey that they were supposed to always start, which is like mixing with one another. I feel like divine unions right now are comprised of like godly individuals. So they're individuals who've already activated their mission, and because they're activated in their individual mission and commitment to God, God gifts them the lover, right? And so really their life isn't even supposed to be about serving everybody else. It's supposed to be about committing to themselves and like what role they play for God, but also like they're really just supposed to share it with their lover, and they haven't, because of all of the deception paradigm that is falling now, all of the nefarious entities that have infiltrated low vibrational people to do their bidding, right? Because we talked about it. It's not against flesh and blood. Even these raggedy runs, like there's a lot of like people, unfortunately, that like are like in some deep shit right now because they are like insane. Like, for example, many of you are like really surprised by like, oh my God, I didn't even think I had any space in my heart for how many people I had to like cut off or like sever, or like I can't even believe like what is wrong. Like there's some stuff that has happened in this last year alone in terms of relationship dynamics that you would look at someone and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I really want to hold your hand, because it takes a lot of spiritual mastery to be able to like satiate that you are totally valid for looking at this third dimensionally. Like, my nigga, you fucking used me, my nigga. Like, that's so valid, but let me take you to a higher octave of what is happening. You are dealing with someone who has been completely compromised. When my mother, sorry mom, I'm gonna expose you. My mom, one of the most horrific, my mom my pacifist mother, who literally, she doesn't fight, but she will murder someone if you touch a child. My mom was like the person that put my dad onto this, because my dad is a brawler, so he didn't necessarily have these like, it wasn't like his parent attribute that was like, don't hit kids. My mom was one that's like, we will not be hitting our children. No, never, don't eat. There's no reason for it. There will never be a reason to hit my kid. And she will murder someone who does feel, she would never hit a kid, but she will murder a nigga who's hitting a kid. And I genuinely feel like but my mother, for example, let me tell you what happened. So 2025, right before like she kicked me in the street, she had this demonic episode, and one of the worst things that happened was she was gonna punch me in the face. There was one moment that she had me in her room, and she was just like, she cocked her fist back, and I looked at her and I said, "Are you really gonna fucking punch me in the face right now?" I said, "Do it. What are you fucking lifting your fist for? What is this about?" Right? And she was like arguing with me about her fucking abusive partner. Type of shit. So anyways, so she literally was about to punch me in the face, and it was like one of the most horrible moments of my life. And I was so just heartbroken, because I was like, my mother hated me in that moment. Like, truly, when I looked in her eyes, she didn't have any love for me as a person. This is like someone different. And I've had to stomach a lot of people being completely compromised by demonic possessions, and it's very disturbing. It's especially disturbing when God's anointed, God's chosen, God's light workers, people who like have soul missions to come here and like do things for humanity. Like everyone in the Taylors is on that. And so it's really hard for me right now. I'm being very strong, because all 3 of my family members have been compromised in certain ways that they can't return to. I can't do anything about it. I tried for 3 years to stop them from getting to endgame, and the demonic possessions like completely took over. So that's why like a lot of those people, like they did stuff to me. Like my brother did cut me off, and like he's never done that before in his life. He's never spoken to me. Hasn't spoken to us since he kicked us out, right? And like you see me keeping up my rapport because I know my real brother, but right now it's like these guys are gone. They're perished. And I want you to know that a lot of the people that have like shocked you with their behavior, because it almost seems non-human. It seems like you have to have no empathy to do what you just did to me. You have to be a kind of person. And I want you to know, like in love and light, especially if it came from someone that you had real love for, you need to understand they were compromised. They have a demonic possession on them right now. And that demonic possession is the thing that did the thing to you. It's not the person that you loved in their right mind or pre-demonic possession that would have done that. So a lot of people, I'm telling you, you have to let them go because they have been compromised. It's not, if you are not compromised and you do not let go of someone who has a demonic possession, you will suffer. You will suffer alongside them. So I know I look cold when I call out these people, but I only call out people that I know have already been completely infiltrated by a demon. I hate to break it. Their original blueprint that God put them on this planet for, perfect, fabulous, cupcake, good guy. But once the demonic possession is there, I have to get away from you. I have to get away from you. I have to. I can't come into contact. I can't be nothing. Even my soulmates, like I gotta put you guys on the back burner because you guys are still completely infiltrated by demonic forces. And that's why there's so much discrepancy like in our communication. That's why we can never mix, because it's like, you don't realize demons are, because humans part of the demonic thing is not, humans are not the demons. Humans are humans, but demons attach to humans because they lower their vibration. So I try to tell you girls to stop doing the low vibrational shit. Stop eating low vibrational foods, stop hanging out with low vibrational people, stop doing low vibrational activities or non-activities. Like again, the non-movement in life helps you really let your vibration drop. And when that happens, you get susceptible to illnesses, vibrations, and circumstances that you wouldn't get if your vibration just wasn't that low. Another thing that lowers your vibration, lying. So a lot of people who just don't live in truth have dastardly, like low ass fucking vibrations. And unfortunately, when you lie a lot, you also find yourself, like my husband, for example, the reason he got sent to rehab and got swept up in that timeline and attracted that himself was because back then, like he was raised by people to like his family, like, very opposite of mine, was like really raised like lie, like lie to you save face or lie. And so, that's very opposite of his like soul's truth. So I think, again, places where like parental abuse is like affecting the child, because like that's not Dennis's vibe or personality at all to like ever feel that way. He's Aries rising, so he doesn't, lying is just like didn't look good on him, and it got him like in a lot of situations because he would always just be like really embarrassed of himself, or he just, I don't know, just being in an environment that really wanted him to lie when he didn't ever feel the need to was like really fucked him up. But it did put him in a low enough vibration to where like a lot of demonic shit was able to like get him aligned to like do stuff that just like it's gonna fuck your future up. And so I try to tell people that all the time, like that's what's really like most important here. But I feel like I feel like one of the biggest things to say is like temperance, it's divinely timed that right now this week everyone knows who is actually soulmates, because the justice came out, because I feel like the legislation behind it, I feel like karma said this is what's going on here, because I feel like these two would have already known who is the other part of the cup, who they give the card. They know this is a two-person conversation, but I feel like this is when the universe gets busted. This is also, I want to say, this is the week where people are deciding, I do not care what anyone thinks about me. This is like definitely a hard launch. Definitely the week of the hard launch. Like, I don't care who sees. Look how locked in. This is someone who has gone on. We completed this journey of giving each other our flowers together, 6 cups. I'm so happy with that journey, and I'm so focused, and I'm really only looking at you. Nothing else really matters, that this can finally align this week. It's finally divinely timed, because both parties in the soulmate unions that are coming together, that are orchestrated by God, are finally able to have, it's something about canceling out the outside noise. But you can only cancel the outside noise out when you have done this much work, when you have gone on this very long journey to see what was inside of your cups. Because I think the way that these people came in together is like, it doesn't really matter how the separation went. It was like both of these people as individuals studied their Akasha, studied themselves, studied their ego, and learned about all that was there. And in doing that, dark night of the soul, very hermit energy, very much being alone energy, very much like retreating and introspection, they actually strengthen their vibration. The sun is the most attractive card in the major arcana. You attract when you're in your sun, and it's like everything comes to you, right? Because you sustain life. So it seems like these people are about to magnetize immediately, like, and it's like something God orchestrated. It's like the angels are like orchestrating this to happen this week. Yes. Largely in part because it's like you are the most attractive you've ever been, so then immediately now you can finally be physically in front of one another. And there's just like a lot of flowers. What I mean is like physically in front of you, a lot of flowers. Whoa. I also feel like there's just kind of like, it takes like so much time to process, because it's a lot. It's almost like the sun is making conscious everything, all of your soul's history. So this is also helpful, because I think there was parts of like, when you have like, again, a lot of people don't know, it's a very simple concept. It's not like there's some people, fucking godless oracles overcomplicate things. Soulmates and twin flames, they're not that hard of concepts. They're exactly what the fuck they sound like. What I mean by that is the thing that animates the flesh suit has been in other flesh suits. Simple as that. Because it's unquantifiable. It's a God particle. That God particle doesn't have any conscious awareness. It's not like your brain has been in other people's brain. Your spirit has been in other things. And so when we talk about soul music or things that are made from the soul, it's the little particle inside of you that isn't got anything to do with the physical. That thing could have been in love with something in a past life. It could have battled somebody. It could have killed somebody. So it has memory. It has memory of every body you've ever been in, and it has memory of everything you've ever loved. So when you go around this lifetime, when you're walking around and you feel a strong urge towards somebody or whatever, I'm one of those people that can help you. There's tons of people in the spiritual community that can help you decipher what some of these feelings are, because usually it's your soul being like, you remember this person, you remember the energy you're coming across, so you've come across them before. And so I feel like there's something to be said about like the sun finally illuminated also, like the Six of Cups has had enough time to like study and let God reveal to it, like, how many past lives, how much stuff, like, how much of the, because I think too, before everything was fully illuminated, like, there were ways where, like, the Six of Cups was like, it wasn't, I think there was, like, overcomplication, because it's just like, it's like waking up at the same time to something like this, or like, if you get woken, mind you, this isn't everybody's path. It was my path, and I showed an example of that, but like, everyone will have to ascend. I ascended through partnership. So like, divine love awoken me to consciousness, to my consciousness in my personal spiritual journey. So my personal spiritual journey doesn't really have anything to do with like who I have sex with, but it was picked for me that I was supposed to like have a divine partner, or like go through divine union in order to come into consciousness. So I'm going to spend my life understanding and like connecting in unions that like move me to the next evolution of my soul. And in union, this isn't just like romantic love. There's no boxes in the future. It's like, it's not capitalism. So it doesn't matter, because like, it's not about like making children, or it's like not about anything. It's like, actually, like, you girls know the track sexual healing. Like, if you really understand those pros, like, sexual healing is such a magical phenomenon. That's why that song is so massive, because it was such a real account of like magic that happens in a certain sector once you're in a certain sacred enough and high enough vibration. But a lot of people don't really get sexual healing. A lot of people aren't on that frequency, because you can't get sexual healing unless you're in a divine union, or having sex with someone divine. If they're not, the sex doesn't necessarily heal you. You can participate in sex, but it's not necessarily like a healing. Healing is one thing. When I say, I also don't take this lightly. Like, not everything heals you. Like, right? Not everybody's a healer. That's not common. So, okay, to be in a healing state means like something is regenerating and getting better. Like, right? It's producing like better life, positive health, not in any deficit. And so for something to be doing that, that's not everything. But I feel like this union had enough time to also discover like whatever the soul's history with one another. But there's just like a big, deep understanding that this is kind of almost like, for example, it's two souls that know each other, but two bodies that are strangers, right? That's what it was with me and Dennis. Me and Dennis's soul know each other, but that's what I try to tell you girls. There's nothing to rush. A lot of you guys just out yourselves as karmic. If you just skip to having the baby with this guy that you really liked or some shit, and you're trying to be like, no, it's because he's like my soulmate, he's my lover. That's not true. Because the real journey that soulmates will go on is like, they come together and they're like, our souls are like making us feel something, right? You're just feeling something very strong, very magnetic, very pulling, right? I mean, that can come out however it is. But then the thing about soulmates that I really want to help people with is like, you really have to like, all right, temper, slow down. Because like, once you get past like, okay, so I can identify this like soulmate level pool, because it's just something me and you would feel, and we feel very drawn to one another. But then you have to figure out how the person that you are, which has nothing, that is a completely separate journey. The person you are is like, that's what I'm saying. My soul does not know who Dennis Galindo was. My soul doesn't know that. My soul doesn't even know Dennis as Dennis. My soul knows Dennis as its soul, right? Dennis is the person I get to learn about. And this is where I think a lot of you guys are going to understand what I mean by free love. Like, my love is a soul mate. So it's not going to follow the same rules that capitalism or the heteronormative agenda tells you. It's moved by something invisible. So me and Dennis's partnership and what it does and what we do is driven by an assignment from an invisible force. So what we do, like why we won't be procreating and like having kids, like all those things are like, because we're on this earth and we're meant to live as people who don't, like, we're meant to be able to receive the love that's like for us, and it's not from like non-specificity or like randomness. Because again, I think a lot of people have problems when they talk about like polyamory. It's like, my issue with all of those boxes is that a lot of them are derivatives of non-spirituality. You have to how many different types of how many different pride flags are there? There's a million, because we can define very niche, like, actually I only get aroused when a snail rides across my dick with it and leaves residue, and that like you could like fucking define like random very specific niche shit, but that's all godless. You're supposed to really be like, I already know my soul, like I move with the awareness that my soul is the one that's like, you already know who's supposed to be your path. That's why I'm saying, like, when me and Dennis are saying, look, because there's nothing that's going to come on your path that you don't already know, that won't already be a remembrance, like something you just remember. So that's why I try to tell people, like, when people try to do too much on me and be like, you don't know how to control that, or they try to, I'm not in your monogamous hetero, because again, when I talk about why I got married, it has absolutely nothing to do with controlling, or it has nothing to do with any of that. Nothing. Marrying Dennis was a successful marker that we had been together for 6 years as these people who were strangers to each other. Dennis and Alexis are completely, we lived different lives, came from completely different backgrounds, completely different polarities, different experiences, or whatever. So when our souls brought us together, what we've been working out and why we're celebrating 9 years, again, we haven't even lived the best part of our relationship. That's why I don't want you girls judging us too harsh. You girls are so fucking toxic, and you're like, yeah, that nigga can't be making you happy. I was like, dude, it's not even about that. Because once you get in relationships, you got to go through phases. There are going to be things that, like, for example, ancestrally, that block my free love from being what God wanted it to be, and there are things on his end that could block what him and I coming together could be. So we've just been working on that for 9 years. We've just been getting out in our 20s. Like, that's why we were like, you know what, let's use our 20s to clear out of the way a lot of stuff that makes our dynamic not the flow state it's supposed to be. But we're just getting to some of the good parts. Like, again, and it's not that being with Dennis is always going to feel like the best thing in the world. There's never, like, it's like not, like, that's why you choose it. Like, when you're in a movie from your soul, it's like, that's why you would choose him. It's like, this is, like, the best partnership I can have. It's, like, the coolest person, right? But what I really do mean is, like, we haven't even gotten to live the, like, glory days yet. And that's what I want you guys to really look forward to. Coming into union with the soulmate, also another reason why maybe if one of the partners in the union was more conscious, they just want you to know, don't spend forever making just meeting up like the most difficult, biggest deal, because to be honest with you, dude, that's step like -0. It's like the first baby step. Because what I want you to understand is, like, the longer we stretch out the awareness of like what and overcomplicate that, we haven't even started the complicated part, because it's actually way harder once you come into union. You have to like study together. Like, literally, me and Dennis for the last 9 years have just been studying our lives, our past life, telling each other, talking to each other, remembering, doing psychedelic, doing all this stuff to remember, so we could get straightened out what we do need to do, what we don't need to do. Because once we did our soul study, we came to the conclusion as healthy adults about how our union moves moving forward. We know that, like, well, one, like, from like what we're locked into, like, Dennis is 100% check. Like, he is given full trust with me. He has access to every part of me. That's how it moves. Like, and but we've decided that for one another. Like, we are also so deeply connected. Like, I can see his life map, and I know who's supposed to be in his life, and I know who's supposed to be in mine, and who could potentially be in it and who's not. It's all a remembrance. It's not like, again, that's why I said, it's like, your life is way more specific. It's not random people. We're not like, even like, you don't need to like even look out to the world and look out to the general public and open yourself up to a sea of people. You don't have to do that. You're supposed to be in your magnetism, to where like the story for you and what it's always been about is like what it would always have been about. It's not going to be different. That's what I'm saying. There's no build a bitch. There's no like, I want to be the next Michael Jackson. No, there's no that. There's no creating it. Like, I try to make it very normal, because I think a lot of people, I want to also not sensationalize it, because I know how like the literature I'm coming with is absolutely genius. There's never been a Black woman who gets to be the star like I get to be. I'm like very much like the first in that way, where I'm just like this universally loved person at a time when humanity is not racist, sexist, and shitty in the ways that it was, to where a very universal amount of people could really break lineages and uplift a Black woman like myself, who truly is special, truly is gifted, truly is here to uplift the lineage of Black women, so that they know that, like, hey, our bests are also getting their due, you know. But yeah, it comes back down to, I kind of really want to remind you guys, it's like, that's all I've been saying is like, I know you're new to this, but I want you to get out of the like internet lingo. Like, go to real astrologers, go to real people who make real professions out of this. Don't be on the social media like with like real stuff, because even astrologers and stuff, they've always existed. Your card ladies have always had a brick and mortar. They've always been on the street. You could always go get your property. So those girlies, stay with them. Your shamans, they've always been there, and they always do real practices, you know. There've always been people who are just guides, way showers, native guys, you know, they've always been around. So like, I really would just suggest that you go to those people like at this time, because I feel like they can really help you, because a lot of this stuff gets sensationalized. And I just think you'll look back in like maybe less than 1.5 years and be like, I was talking about astrology in a very ignorant, dumb way. Because again, it's like something like a soulmate or a twin flame it's not that confused. It's not really even it's kind of not really a big deal. It's not really even that sensationalized. It's not like, oh, you're so lucky. No, like, it's, you guys, we could all have sex. Again, you don't have to be like a divine being coming to channel something crazy. I just want you to get into divinity, into your highest timeline, which just would mean that you're making love, making choices, doing things that are healthy and conducive and balanced for the actual ecosystem, things that God has ordained for you to do. people, places, and things that God wants you to mix with and not things that God doesn't want you to mix with. That's my only goal here. You're not going to have to change that much other than you can't follow a false idol to defining your life. You need to sit with yourself in introspection, receive your magnetism, and read the book on you. Matter of fact, write the book on you and then go back and read it. And then that's it. That's all you have to do. And that's all I'm explaining here. And that's what I want you guys to know. It's like, I think a lot of you thought I was too woo-woo, and it's not your fault. People are literally like scared of tarot cards. Like, people literally are still at the awareness that, like, if I'm like, wow. And I'm like, bitch, you can go get this shit at fucking Barnes and Nobles. Like, the cards in and of itself, there are definitely holy, like, there are absolutely not going to sit around here and knock any of my craftsmen who, you know, make books, bind books, who make cardstock, who do any of these things. These are absolutely the guys who do. But for majority of these readers that you're looking like on social media, these girls get their shit from fucking StockX, the StockX of fucking tarot land, okay? They get it from tarotmania.com, okay? Like, I know my guys. So it's not like, it's just because you guys are ignorant to tarot, but it is a secret occult knowledge. It is woo-woo. It is she, but it isn't. The imagery is actually just to reflect the imagery. It's a system of accountability. And we are reading the energies, right? It's not like me, but necessarily. So that's just something I wanted to say about that. But I do feel like that's kind of the big thing. And so part of what helps illuminate what I keep hearing God say to the whole world, to the globe, that these two are in a divine union. This is everywhere. The people that are supposed to be in union, everyone knows this, whether you're in it or not. The union you're supposed to be in is on the table. So now comes, did you extend the offer or did you lock them out? Did you, because here's the thing. What got created is you built your new world foundation. You have a foundation you're standing on up until this point. Is your divine soulmate in your foundation or no? Because it doesn't even matter. I kind of almost feel like someone in the soulmate partnership was just so ignorant to God that it's like they thought that they could like offer a cup to take someone from locked out side to inside. But the real thing is, do you notice how it's pentacles to cups? So someone is using an emotionally, like someone just had an emotional renewal. Like, oh my God, you're my ace of cups. I want to give that to you. But what they don't realize that isn't necessarily matching is the partner where they left them. The problem, it's not that this isn't received. It's not that the emotions, it's not that you just claimed me as your soulmate is not received and that it isn't as fucking huge as it is. The problem is where this person, one of the people, left the soulmate. You left the soulmate locked outside completely, though, of a foundation that you two do need to build together. So I do just kind of feel like there will be a little bit of a conversation this week, though, because there's kind of a lot to work out, because it's like, well, why is your soulmate the one who is the last to know about the internal workings of what you do? I feel like there's just a little bit of an imbalance here where like one soulmate has completely kept up, like keeping the other in the loop of the things they do, and the other, maybe because they were trying to do this grand gesture that had to do with like, well, oh, I finished all my understanding and learning and studying of like what this connection is. I want to like show you that I do know this. There is a bit of a like, yeah, but along the way when you were retreating, you have to acknowledge that you didn't give resources to your soulmate. And the only reason God is giving you resources is for the person that you're supposed to be building with. So it's just like because it has to do with, again, you would know. Right now, you're sitting in your empire, and whether you're in union with your soulmate in your physical life or not, you have to be honest about who and what is physically in the foundation you have right now. Like right now, I feel sad because I'm just like, one of the things that's just the saddest for me is that it's like, yeah, but I built Tethered Studios, and there were certain people that were supposed to be a part of it, that could have been a part of it. Like, it's all me now, you know, I'm gonna get all the clout for sure, but there were people that were supposed to be able to part of the institution that, like, now we can't, because now we won't, now we can't in certain ways. And it's like the institutions were supposed to be made in tandem. They were supposed, it's like, there's a lot of people where it's like with your soulmate, it's like you were supposed to be a sister company too. Like the way that it's Dolphin Boy Records is like inextricably like tied into Tethered Studios. There's no way to just like the legacy of those two businesses, you can't take them apart. I unfortunately just feel like, and it has to do with the Ace of Cups. It's like, because Dennis offered me both a foundation, like he included me in on the things he was building, and his emotional love. It's the reason why when we get to our moment, like all of us are sharing, regardless of whether you committed to your partner or not, it's like, it's the reason why now, because I think that's just what's felt. I think at the end of the day, whether you pass the group test, which we all failed the group test, so we failed that, but we could have passed. So whether you pass the personal test or not, I think it looks like I'm talking to the people who did, it's like this partnership passed the personal test, which is actually great. From an Aquarius perspective, just do your part. You don't have to do my part. We don't even have to work on anything together necessarily. You just need to do your part. So soulmates did their part. They're able to come into union this week, have a very conscious, in the light type of face-to-face. We have all these flowers to give one another because we know what's there. We know what we've done every lifetime. We know what we're meant to do here. We know how hard, and it's almost like we know how hard it was to just get to this moment to with one another. Absolutely. But then comes this sort of conversation, regardless, which is like, there might be just like two very different paths, because it's just like, it does feel some type of way, because it is a little bit hard to say when, if you left it, like if your journey through ascension, again, some of you didn't know this because again, you don't have any education, but like some of you are supposed to awaken through partnership. So this looks like someone who did just awaken, but you were really lucky. Like, I think that's the thing that sucks, is I was trying to tell you people, it's like, so getting to awaken through divine love, like through divine partnership, like getting awoken with with someone who's gonna, like, me and Dennis were asleep at the same time and woke up at the same time because we were having sex with each other. So there's a lot of people that, like, that's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be like free love. You're supposed to be like able to like do that. It's not about like, are we like doing this? Are we gonna be? It's like just about the conscious like awareness. It's like, yes, we can help you if we choose to commit to each other and like lock in and do a partnership. Just a partnership, like partner. It's all gonna change. It's like, just like if we want to be able to say like we utilize spirit, like sexual healing with one another because we've identified each other as soulmates and we're ready to allow that to be the case. It would just be about setting up a lifestyle that continues to allow that to be like something that we can uncover. But again, I feel so deeply that it's like, there's just something about like, you know, it feels like something, you know, it's not, I think I just want to let you guys know, it's not nothing. You will feel it at the end though, if like your soulmate is completely not in the foundation that I do still kind of feel like someone is getting a huge renewal, but there's a big kind of like Debbie Downer on it. It's like, yep, here's my Ace of Cups, and I still feel locked outside of what it is. Because the Ace of Cups, because I think it's just really obviously this week, like what actually makes you feel Ace of Cups, where your renewal is. And I think a lot of people are also realizing something really, I think the other thing that made people really, it's actually funny. I think one thing I will also say during Scorpio and Taurus axis is like, don't say when. When you think you've understood something is not when you've understood it. You likely haven't finished the transformation, because I feel like people were trying to still kind of control when they would. I think people can anticipate like, all right, I think it's getting smaller, the tunnel's getting more narrow. I think the outcome is pointing towards something very specific, that this person is meant to be on my path, or they're meant to be someone that I'm having this partnership with, this love with, shared. And yet I think when that was zeroing in, I think people, like, there's a partner here that the partner that didn't do the ascending with the partnership, like, was really resistant to that. I think they're like kind of having this moment where they're realizing it's like, oh shit, like, it's just like, I'm knowing kind of like how it's coming, but I'm not really realizing when and how, what's going to make me actually get to the awareness that I claim this. Like, I think someone thinks they've claimed something and they haven't claimed it. Like, you'll know when you've actually claimed it. And not a second point. And I'd also say like fall back at this time. You know, I would say like fall back on really trying to like push this Ace of Cups forward, because it's meant to feel like an Ace of Cups. It's meant to take you from like locked outside of it to completely like flowering and watering and nourishing you. It's supposed to be really like, I'm not even mad, I'm not even upset. Like, it's totally like, I'm just aware. It's really beautiful. And I'm just really happy that the love is healthy, clean. And there's like no shit stains in our lagoon. That's a great thing. But yeah, I do just want to let you know that you probably definitely felt that. I think too, some of you might have released the big renewal. And the funny thing is like, actually the big success isn't the thing that helps you identify who your soulmate was. It wasn't even the big confessional that like, the professing of like what really renews you isn't even what brings you your soulmate. The thing that actually brings you your soulmate is like when you make your feelings known to yourself, and then you actually sit with the fact that like, I feel this way about this thing that I haven't, like, I'm finally letting all that conscious. But then you have to think about how much pain you've been in. And that, I think that's what's slowing down a little bit this week. Because I want you to know, I mean, again, this was said, the love isn't surprising. Like, even though I'm aware that some people are this week are having that moment where they're finally like letting their throat chakra say something that was locked away, I'm so proud of you. I know that obviously you had a lot of like karma that kept that blocked. So I'm really glad for that journey. But in love and in light, one of the best things about what happens next is a deep tempering process, because I know that one of the things that I would tell, you know, a lot of my like soulmates and people that are supposed to be for me that I think really struggled like with our connection is, you know, I would just really, really suggest that you release some of that cardinal energy, because a lot of the people that I also feel like I come into partnership with, I really balance them out in terms of I think we have a very big thing about like educating one another, or education, like something about like being attracted to one another because we have like possess a body of information or education that's like, I can't find this anywhere, I can't get this anywhere, right? Type of thing. And so I genuinely just feel like with that, though, a lot of times with my partners, I attracted a lot of people who had really, really traumatizing experiences with their inner student. And which is very polar to what I had. I had a very like enriching sort of like example experience, I would say, about like my relationship as like just with my inner student. And so a lot of times I think one of the things like I can tell, because I usually attract like genius individuals, obviously like mirrors, but the biggest thing is like so they have their knowledge is not learned from studying, it's inherited, it's God-given, right? So they're just smart for no reason, is like my type. But I also feel a bit like they do tend to have issues though with learning, because a lot of the like people that I've been attracted to in my life are like so genius, they just came here with this primordial knowledge, they don't even really know why they know what they know. I mean, my husband's like the OG of that. Like Dennis came here with like the murkiest, like Dennis is like the funniest, most like he's scary because he's just like so obviously like a ancient like god, like he's like so obviously like not normal. Just like everything about him is like very visibly like, oh, I mean, down to the 1226, like he's just so like, you're not a regular nigga type of dude. But he had a really traumatic experience. Like he was a very opposite student as me, just because I feel like he's very failed as a student in certain ways. And so I tend to attract a lot of those people, but one of the things that really help him work with is he's very cardinal. So when he learns things, he's very much like, we're still developing out the like, you know, I really have to ingrain in him. I was like, Dennis, you know, he doesn't have a lot of experience a lot of times like with being able to be supported enough to like go all the way and complete it with education, which is most people, unfortunately. And so one of the ways that I really help support him to sort of stay in it is like, you know, with learning, I have to really help him because sometimes he's so cardinal. So he really makes a lot of room to like learn things that really grab him and touch him and and he has to move really fast. He like has such a thirst for knowledge. He like loves new things. But a lot of times, like even in moments like this is where it's like, I know you really want to just be like, I want to say I love you and I want to be, but actually it's not even about that, because it's like, I knew that, like, you're good. I think the person, like, I want to say, like, I think your soulmate is like, again, it was never about like me not knowing that there was love for me, right? It was just about how much you were hurting yourself. Like your soulmate is literally going to be like, you have a lot of grief to process though. You have a lot of pain to process, because if this is true, if you're sitting with yourself and you're not even talking to me, you're not admitting to me you're in love, you're admitting to you were in love. So if I'm sitting in the mirror and I'm finally admitting to myself, I've been in love with this thing this whole time, I got a lot of experiences that I have to go back for, all 5 of these pentacles. And like, really, you should probably, first thing you need to do is give that cup of love to you. So the cup of love that you just realize is mirrored in someone else, make sure to use, that's what I'm saying, use this person. I've been trying to tell you guys, it's like, I wasn't trying to do anything creepy or overwhelming. I'd like to start subtle and small. I'd like to show up for each other at a daily capacity. I'd like to give ourselves a chance to be like, hi, nice to meet you. Let's try speaking to one another regularly and see what feels natural. It happened with me and my husband. It's like when we first met, it's like, okay, let's start by meeting. We match. Okay, great. And then we just allowed ourselves like, how much do you naturally want to talk to me? So, and not by asking that, like he'd like text me, and I let myself naturally text. I didn't do the drama thing. It was like, he texted me 30 minutes ago, like I'm gonna wait 45. No. Like we would just like let it go. And then we started realizing like, oh dude, over time, we talk every second of every day. We're not even hanging up this FaceTime. But again, it has to get there. It has to start at, I want to start with one pinnacle at a time, building you into this foundation. And I think even if you feel an overwhelming feeling, like I told you, I had sex with my husband in a Target parking lot in my mom's Xterra in a loading dock, right? Because I couldn't even, like the feelings I had from it, I couldn't even, nothing could be done about it. It was so intense. It was just like, we gotta have sex right now. It doesn't even matter what we are. Let's just have sex right now. We're good. Like, it's not gonna hurt anybody. Let's have some sex right now. So we did it, and we ended up making cosmic love, and it was like insane. I'll never forget that moment in my life. Like, never. But it was, after that, it was just like, dude, like the other part of that, like the having sex part, was just like, that was very much a side of it. It was like, we're good, we're grown, we can like have sex, it's fine. But then the other part of it was like, dude, I'm actually like really feeling like I want to talk to you all the time. I want to like be around you all the time. And that's just where I feel like you're realizing it's way lighter, but it's not like the worst thing in the world. But I feel like one of the soulmates really needed to know that you weren't going to really commit to being a liar. Like, I think that's the thing that really eroded more than anything. It's just like, but why are you going through this many links to not tell the truth about something that really obviously is a big deal to you? That's what I'm saying. It's like lying on something that's this big though. Because I feel like one of your partners just never lied about it. It's just never like, yeah, I feel big. And even let themselves be crucified. And I think you got a lot out of that. I feel like you have such a big cup to give them because you would watch this person literally just be like, I love you, and they weren't cowardice about it. They weren't like scared of like how people they don't care if the third dimension is like, well, how can you say you love the person? You're in the middle of this. It's like, cause I'm not in the third dimension. My marriage is not processed through that. My marriage is ordained by God. My marriage is not a fucking Texas marriage. It's not just Texas didn't make my marriage. What? That's why I don't give a fuck what you girls think. My marriage represents the moment that Dennis and I's bodies are on board with what our souls had already known. But you can't get your body on board with anything, and you can't do anything in the physical plane, and you can't skip anything. The physical plane needs cycles. It needs consistency, discipline, and cycles. You have to do the same thing on time, every time, to manifest in the physical. That's what Capricorn says. There's no shortcuts. You can't get a fucking PhD or a doctorate. You can't become an architect by skipping. You have to learn how to technically draw, and you can't pass unless you pass. So for that part of the relationship, that's what's super out of balance in certain ways, where it's not just emotions that do that though, because you have to be able to build this. And that's where the deficit is. It's not overly mad about anything, but it is that some of these unions, the problem, it's not, I think the thing that brings you into union wasn't the big confession. It's actually the big confession coupled with the processing of like, I'm in pain for how long I did that, because I think that's actually what the coffee date's going to be about. I feel like there's a moment where you guys are, it's all going to be conscious. It's huge. It's cosmic. It's something that divine temperance, it was a divine timing. You're always going to meet on this day. You're always going to connect in this way. You're always going to do that. But I think when you link up, you're going to have a lot to talk about, right? Because you guys are going to need each other's sexual healing to help heal from the fact that like you lied for so long about how big this renewal was for you. So you were basically keeping it from being in your physical foundation. And I just feel like there's going to be a need for like a little bit of a vacay or like a reprieve or like a summer like healing, or just setting up a regimen with your soulmate where it's like, we have a schedule where this is the time where we come to work on the fact that this is how we had to get here. It's like the feelings are completely there. I don't think we missed the mark. It's like your soulmate would never give red flags. They would never do anything. They're not designed to be able to cross your wires negatively. But I do feel like the sexual healing, the flowers you give each other, the time, the face-to-face can really help, because there's a big part of how we've missed like physical shit, and that was unnecessary. It's almost like someone was just completely didn't get to be a part of what you're building. So it's just like, and I think it's almost how that doesn't make sense. I think one partner definitely realizes now something they didn't consider when they were trying to control how this relationship was going to end up, was that like, well, now it does look a little awkward though, because I'm trying to tell people like, hey, I don't care how you guys feel about the fact that this is the person that like means the most to me in the world right now, contemporarily. But then people would be like, okay, so you're trying to get us to like hear you now that this is like the most important person to you in the whole United States of America and the world, right? But then why wouldn't you like let them be a part of building your foundation? And I think that's what the other partner was trying to say the whole time, is like, it's gonna look stupid as fuck. It's gonna not look like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I think one person was like super irritated or felt controlled by the other partner's desire to love them out loud. And it's like, because I think someone just always gotten like super small love, the love that just whispers about you, the like just, oh, I didn't know, like I think like one of the partners just coming from a past where like the partnerships like, you know, we don't really post each other on, like they think they lie to each other because they're misaligned, but they say like, oh, we don't use Instagram, like we don't like, why would I take a picture of like us on our date? Like, nah, we don't even need to do that. Like, it's like that. Like one of the partners is just like so used to like not being publicly claimed, even if the ironic part is like they're not like invisible, they're not wallflowers by any means. These are like, Celeste, if you're on my channel, you're like a, you know, you're a guy. But it's almost like someone who's just coming from a past with like very specific relationship. Like you were taught a very specific definition of what love was, and love was small. And I think there's another partner that's just like on a very different leg of the journey where they're just not, like love is like honest, truthful, out there. It's nothing to hide, nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be embarrassed of. And I think that's where that discrepancy came. And I think it really hurt the other one because it was like, why are you not doing that normal thing? One of the partners was like, we're really going to regret though that we're choosing to not, like, because we're trying to figure out how we feel about each other, like we're going to really regret not including each other as soon as possible. Like I tell Dennis this all the time. It's one of the best things we love about each other. It's like, if you were to ask us, okay, so knowing that Dennis was like someone that you knew was going to like actually can withstand like long-term partnership with you, I have evidence of that because he's been my partner for 9 years. But if you could like do it back any other way, would you still want to meet him at 20, or would you want to like skip the cycle of like the first 9 years of your karma and meet him when you guys are like more established without some of the karma and start the relationship? And me and Dennis always say we are like so grateful that we like started our rapport at 20. Like it does not matter. If you are a soulmate for me, I would rather meet you as early as possible, no matter what, because everything can be worked on. It's actually really fun in soulmate partnerships to do the work together of whatever is discordant. It's fun. It's actually fun. And I know a lot of you don't have experience with it. I think that's the thing, is there's a lot of unions right now where like one partner is just like not been maybe in the vibration of like getting to experience certain things in terms of like the benefits of a soulmate union. So I get that totally. But I do think like one of the partners was really just trying to say is like, no, take my advice. You probably might have some like hollowing regrets that like the thing that makes you the happiest, you didn't let it be a part of like what makes you the happiest, like the things you're doing, like the extensions of your foundation. Like I think there's ways where it's like, did I kind of like remove this person from my foundation though, like over and over again? Because now you see, well, they're going right into the foundation anyway. So I kind of just, and so I think it just kind of makes it awkward, because I feel like what I will say is like you created a lot of conversations where like your divine partner just kind of have their ear talked off about how you've kind of created a situation where other people are going to have something over your divine partner where it's like, you don't know nothing about this because you weren't there. Like they didn't include you in this. It's like, there's just kind of like a dynamic that's going to be like, you don't know nothing about, like you think you know this person and you don't, because if you knew them, this is a lot of people that's kind of like, well, if you knew them so well, why didn't they want to include you in their most, I just feel like there's an Ace of Cups that's coming to all the individuals in divine unions right now. And if you didn't put your divine soulmate in your Ace of Cups story, the whole Ace of Cups story is actually like an offering to them. So I think that's kind of where there's a little bit of a bug, where it's like, this is for your soulmate, and yet you were trying to control that because you didn't even know what a soulmate was. But then like you cut them out of something that's literally in the end supposed to go to them. And I feel like that's what they were trying to tell you. It's like, everything I'm doing is is for you. I think that's another reason why this cup goes to them and you don't even care anymore what people think, because you know through what they did for you. There's one person who actually gave you what you know you give to other people, what you know you could give to someone else. There's only one person who's done that. That's why they get it. But they were trying to tell you, they're like, no, I'm giving you my most valuable thing. I know the purpose that God has given me. It's like one partner, for example, take Tethered Studios. It's like, for the people that are for me, that are supposed to be like in love with me in my life, Tethered Studios is for you. Like they would know that, because Tethered Studios is going to take people who are for me and they're going to get one video, one nugget, 1 30-second reel, and it's going to immediately start transforming them. They're going to see a picture of me and it's going to like, everything's going to fucking change immediately if you're actually for me. You get what I'm saying? And so I just wanted the same experience because I know the same would be true. If you're for me, your work is supposed to do that for me too, but you keep gatekeeping me out of it. So it's not equal because you're getting Tethered Studios, but your shit is supposed to be for me. It's supposed to serve me, right? The same way the Dolphin Boy Records serves me, but a lot of like my soulmates out there that are just like their life's work doesn't serve me because it has all this bugs in it and they're like trying to make it for other shit. And so unfortunately, it's like someone's life's work is dedicated to something else, but it's actually in purpose and in practice for something else. So how well I feel like the gift translates to who it's for is a little choppy right now. It's a little choppy. It's like giving somebody a reheated birthday present. It's like, I actually bought this for a different friend's birthday. And somehow in a weird, it's like, that should have gone to you. That gift should have gone to you. And so it's kind of like if you accidentally left the tag that was like to Sarah, but you regave it to McKinley. And McKinley's like, this shit says to Sarah. Did you actually, like, it's almost like you get exposed that, like, and that's what I'm saying is, like, I did, like, have a bit of a journey where it's, like, I know Dennis is, like, he's definitely got the husband title because it's just, like, he's the only one that doesn't have any stains. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's a lot of people that, like, love you just as hard. We're meant to work through all these things, but, like, you didn't, like, recognize me off top. You didn't, like, you weren't fearless off top. You didn't just do the simple thing off top. You didn't just, like Dennis really won the whole prize of Alexis Taylor, where a lot of guys are like, damn, how'd that nigga get her? I feel aligned to her. How'd you get her? And it's like, he really got her because he just, like, did the simple, honest, and real thing. Came right up to me, told me exactly, like, just felt it. It was like, let's do, like, yeah, just knew he deserved it. That's it. He knew he deserved it. He knew he was worth it. He saw what he wanted and he was like, I deserve to have that. I'm gonna let myself tear her ass up. And he did, and it hooked me for life because I'd never even had someone, I wasn't even choosing myself the way my husband chose me that night. He was like, nope, you are the fucking sexiest woman. I don't even care if you think you're the ugliest bitch in the world. I don't care. You are my dream person. I didn't even know someone's face existed like yours. And I hated myself so much in 2017. It was like not a good time for me in terms of like, I wasn't like on a self-love journey at all at that point. So it was very cataclysmic having someone that I was like, I don't even think this person likes people that look like me. Like, I thought Dennis was like the type of like conventional attraction that was like, there's no reason for him to be like specifically juiced off me because I know that what type of women are into that. And he's just stunning. He's like really cool, amazing, comes from a crazy rich lineage. I mean, it's like, there's a lot of benefits. It's like, you're not going to lose with this guy. So I was just like, I don't know why he feels specific about me. But then he came up and was like, nope, it's specifically you. And he had really good boundaries. Dennis is like really like so my vibe. It's the Cancer Moon thing because I love a Cancer Moon because they're like, oh, you're sneaky dinky. He's like really in touch with his like, no, the Cancer Moons are going to be like, no. Because Cancer Moons like have to be on the breast all the time. Like they're like always like suckling, you know what I mean? Like life's like mother's milk. And so that's not everything for a Cancer Moon. And so for a Cancer Moon, sometimes like they like what they like because they needed to like it's like no, I need the umbilical cord, and that's not everything for them, and they're usually pretty aware of like that's not everything for me, and so they're pretty like resolved and pretty like no. Like I said, I kind of like a man with nasty astrology placements, like astrology placements that are like no, like some shadow. Like I don't like it, you know what I mean? Like the Sagittarius man, the Aquarius man, they're too fucking, you know. Those are just the ones that'd be a little harder for me if I was talking about like romantic partnerships because they're so, you know, ascended in consciousness and their personalities are so liked by everyone that they're not polarizing. If I'm going to be doing the man gender thing as a partner, if that's like who I'm talking to, yeah, I kind of prefer like the male gender to kind of be like crunchy and kind of like not, I like a man that's like not liked, you know, like a man that's like, I don't like everything. Like I said, I love a Taurus, love a Capricorn, love a Scorpio, you know what I mean? Like I love those placements for men. I love an Aries, I love a Leo placement for a man. It's just like, just kind of picky. Like a Cancer, it's like, I don't want that. I like a Taurus, you know, I don't want that. It's just, you know, let's look at the recent past. Not really hit the 2-hour mark, y'all. You're so welcome. Yeah. It's just so obvious. There's a big surrender to the feelings in the recent past. There was no choice. Because there's no surviving. There was no surviving. It's like, it got to a point where it's like, your survival was contingent on it. It's like, there's only one lifeboat. I'm about to die. And the only potential of the only thing I want to resurrect into is this person's bosom. That's like literally what I'm hearing. It's like, I only want to resurrect into your life. If I'm dying right now, I want to resurrect in her life, in his life. You know what I mean? Type of vibe. In their life, type of shit. This is exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of competition, too. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Kind of this is the week where like any and every soulmate you've ever had, any and everybody who's ever supposed to be is gonna like come towards you now, because everything is conscious. I think that people are putting things out right now that anyone who's supposed to hear the bat signal at all on any ether would hear it. Like, people's drops of their energetics right now in life are so pure that they're gonna pull themselves right in. So you're kind of just like attracting a lot right now. And it's kind of beautiful because it's all designed. There's going to be a lot of people that are attracted by the sun, by someone, by the prodigal son returning within you. They're going to be attracted to that. Now, I don't even know what time it is. I'm like going crazy. I'm like, make sure I'm not doing too much. It's like 11:30, so it's been 2 hours. It's probably 1:30. Okay, cool. I'm good. I'm super good. But when you put this out, there's a lot of people that are going to fight over trying to come for this. But the funny thing is, look at this. So the thing you put out is like a love letter. It's like a love letter, and it has so many it's so specific, it's like knocking people off. It's like, even if people want to be like, oh, that's my soulmate, or like, I'd love a girl like that, it's not specific enough. Like, there's no, again, like I said, there's no such thing as like, ah, man, like Dennis is a good type of guy. I'd like a Dennis. No, there's no, I want a type like that. There's only what's actually for you. Your type, the person for you may not even be a type, may not even be anything. Dennis was undefinable. There wasn't even, like, I didn't even, like, when we met each other, it was like, we were both in kind of blob places. Like, he didn't even, it was like in a rehab, like, it's completely in a, like, halfway out. Like, it's like, there was no, what kind of guy is this? There wasn't any of that information, right? He was just mine. I just knew that. I was like, he's just mine. I don't really know. I don't know what he is, but he's mine. And people were just like, okay, girl, you claim your little junkie. I was like, I'm gonna do that because he's mine. I didn't know. He didn't know what I was either. He just knew I was his. And I think there's something about, like, the thing that you say consciously. Like, there's so many, I feel like each of these flowers is details. And so you presented something gets presented this week that has so many details and is like so specific. And you've just been, and it's coming from your genuine natural nature. It's like, I'm just doing me. I'm telling my true vibration. I'm saying my truth. Like, when people are telling their truth, you immediately draw in anything that aligns with that truth. But then the next tier is, if your truth is really deep, like what I'm getting, like the people who've done the dark night of the soul and ascended and things, then when you tell your truth, it has all these specifics. So now you're kind of, I'm seeing that this is a very protected first start, because I think you might have been scared about what people were thinking, and then you had this whole journey where you just surrendered in the recent past, and you're like, I don't actually care what anybody thinks, because when I die, because I'm about to die, felt that, Scorpio full moon, I'm about to die, and I only want to resurrect in their story. That's the only story I want to be in. When you decided that, all these people get burned. They're going to get burned. They're going to get, you're actually, it's almost like hell for them, and it's heaven for the one specific thing that's connected to you. The thing that's really actually for you. It's just mad specific. And I think this is why it was, this cup you offered actually brought you guys out of it. Almost, there's another time when it was like, it was recovered. It's like, because you were so specific about your truth, I'm getting like, because someone was like, again, kind of, remember I just got in that aside where I was like, I like when masculines have like, are particular. I don't like a general masculine. So it's just like, ugh, as I'm telling you, I don't even like the gym bod. You guys don't understand. I like the gym objectively, but I don't like what the gym in capitalism has done, which is like really affects men's bodies. I don't like that men feel like they even had to do anything to their vessel. Little boys aren't jacked up beefcake. Like, that's not even it. I'm very into like the young boys' natural physique, and a lot of young boys are like, there's not, muscle building and stuff is like, there's some aspects of that kind of get ungodly. I'm not even going to go into that, but you don't got to innovate too much on the thing. Okay. We're not barbarians. You don't, like, not every man is like 7 foot. You know what I mean? A lot of men are in the fives. Like a lot of women are also in the fives. And sometimes, like I just saying, like you ever see a 5'6" guy who's just like, they're upset that they're 5'6", which is fucking the reality of like lineages of people. Like height is also something that capitalism annoys me. It's like, it just represents lineages of people. Like it's like, for example, you're not going to see a lot of Central American men be some big old jacked up dookie bookie schmookie bookie dookie lookie. You know, my husband's lineage is like, it's the like philosopher types. They're the like my man's, the BMI of my man's people, they're thin guys. They're like real ascended guys. They don't come from people who's like very opposite. Like my family's like very thick, like cardstock, you know, kind of like thick thigh, thick calf, thick back, you know. So it's just different, you know, blood types. But like I'm like, I feel like my family's very big bone. Dennis's family's like very light bone mass, very like bird people, like very light. So it's like just a different lineages. It's like whatever. But there's certain things that I just feel like I don't love. I don't actually have a preference. It's not that I don't like a certain build or one build over another. It's not like, oh, I only like skinny guys or I only like skinny women or I only like big women. Or it's not even that. I like authenticity. And I also don't like that if your health regime builds your body to be something rather than allows it to just look like a naturally well sculpted version. I'm not even really into sculpting. Like I don't want to like, and that's where I kind of like am pioneering this new light body image, which is like something that's very powerful for me as a Black woman to be reclaiming on behalf of God. But the light body does not look like what you girls think. Again, think more like Bruce Lee, which isn't necessarily even having to be like, it's like the natural little spiritual muscles that come from like, you know, like the same movement every day or like whatever. So it's just like, you know, before we had all the equipment and the blown out and the fucking, because that to me is just giving GMO human. So I'm not super into that, you know, vibe. If it's derived from some sort of insecurity, because a lot of gym culture is just that. It's like, I'm not where I want to be because I don't like what was there. I like people who go to the gym and build on the love from what's there, not the desire to completely change what they don't love. Because it's one thing to be like out of shape and be like, I don't love that. But a lot of men, like they have this social pressure about athleticism at a certain point. And there are just like a lot of sort of prehistoric, like there are just certain like evils or like there's certain things that we love, like sports and things like that, right? But there are ways that those are like slave institutions. And so they actually just like get men to like just unfortunate. So that's why Dennis is really an icon, and he's really such a supportive figure for a lot of men, because what he represents is such a unique niche polarity, and like the confidence and the beauty that people see in him is so rare, because he really does do so much for like flipping and subverting masculinity on its head. So I'm really attracted to that about him. I love that about my husband. From day one I was like, you're a legend, because you're going to do so much for men's wear. You're going to do so much for men's like options in life, because you're reminding men that it's like, we don't have to like fucking do the fucking scrappy do thing and like pump up our blood and fucking try to go and mutate. You don't have to do that. You can feel confident and loved and capable of holding down a bad bitch, having a big dick. You can have all those things. You can do whatever you want, but you don't also have to like lead. You can look like your great-great-grandfather did too. You know what I mean? Because I just hate to see everybody look like they just left the fucking Gymshark convention. Like, God, what the fuck? Like, why is everybody's ass cheeks look like the same? It's like weird. And then y'all just still look bad built. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Because when you try to build on a bad build, that's the thing. It's like, sometimes we just have to surrender that your genes are bad because you know what I mean? A lot of the things that I tell you girls is like, my genetics are phenomenal. I'm not going to hold you girls. They're phenomenal. So when I cleaned up my fucking shitty ass habits, oh, you girls are done for. As I said, it's not a prime. It's phenomenal. It's mathematics love with me. Wanda and Sherman Ray, they were aware. They were conscious. They knew what they was doing. So they knew what they was creating. That's all I'm going to say. So anyways, but that's what it looks like. I also get kind of another tier message where it's just like, there are so many people that could have thought that shit, that like the shit is like, this must be about me. I want to offer my cup, but it's like so obviously not. It's like, that's what I was going to say. This is one of those times where I think people are going to try it like they always do. Like, you know, the fucking unaware bitches who are like, oh, that nigga's talking about me. He want me. The pick-me's, like the pick-me, not even just women. Like, it's like anyone who's on some like narcissism. Like, I know that's about me. The general bitches. Nothing is actually about you. That's why I hated that I had to be the person that I was like, okay, I'm going to have to ruin your Coachella. We can't all get marry Justin Bieber. Oh, shocker. We can't. Not everybody's for everybody. Not everybody's trying to take. It's not about taking nobody. It's not about da-da-da-da. It's not about. But that's even what I told people. It's like, you have to understand too. Like, not everybody has to play the role of like my like husband. I already have a husband. It's, you don't need a million of those. I didn't even really think I needed it. I don't even need a husband. That's just an honor that I got to receive because, again, my soul and Dennis's soul are very aware now that like we got to know the new human that we didn't know. Like my soul didn't know who Dennis was, and Dennis has all this ancestral history from his physical earth lineage that I had to learn in this lifetime. So 9 years ago, I really was learning Dennis for the first time, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like this soulmate you're gonna come to. You guys still have to learn. You guys don't even know each other like in this lifetime, in this incarnation. And so that's what they were trying to say is like, we can't keep going on how strong we feel pulled to each other because the pull is just enough to get you there. But the pull isn't even like everyone you can understand is like every day with Dennis, it just feels natural. It doesn't even, I'm not in the like I'm getting sucked in type of vibe. That was like only like when it was time to suck us in. But I think some of you have kept this like tension going, and it was supposed to just suck you in so you meet and then it relaxes. But I feel like there was so much tension for so many very long time with this resistance that was created because someone just didn't understand how this really was supposed to work. But I do think that someone really, like when these two twin flames, I think it's at the same time, they confess at the same time with the same level of specificity that it can't be denied that this is action. Even it's like these people, even if they wanted to be like this about me, it's like they're dropping like very specific details that aren't hyperbole about this conscious love, about this confession, about this truth, about their truth. Because I think there's a lot of people who think the truth of these people could match them, and it doesn't. And you know this because it could be a truth that all these people like, they want. Because again, we can have a truth like, I'm meant to be a director and a huge shot, and that could be like, oh, I'd love to marry a girl like that. But I'm trying to tell you guys, don't get on my shit thirst trap and you'll forget about me. If you're not in alignment with me, you're really gonna forget about my shit very soon. I might have had a grip on you, but God is not gonna let you, you're not meant to be on my path. You're not. That's why I don't mind excusing you. That's why I don't mind being like saying something that'll just like saying some truth that'll just get you to leave me alone. Be like, I don't even want to go over that anymore because she knows the truth about it. I don't want to deal with her no more. Because you're not for me. That's why my channel doesn't have to grow. It's like it's already got the fucking people that are for me. You'd be surprised who's in this little 280 fucking person follow account. It's all the bitches that are for me. It ain't random bitches. It's the bitches that are for me. And their burner accounts. But it is. And so that's what I'm saying. Is like at this time it's like anyone who had this is a lot of wishful thinking. This is the paradigm that's going to try to come for these divine unions. These are the people that delayed it, but they're going to try to come for them because they have this wishful thinking like, oh, I wish that was me. Or I hope that could be me. Or that I could be your wife. I could be the person you want to marry. What? That's godless. It's not, could be. There isn't like who's gonna be Alexis's husband. That's not how it works. It was always gonna. It's like it's already all written. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is like you need to come into union because I'm also a priestess, so I can tell you what your role. I already know what we're supposed to do together. It's already ordained. No one's in conflict. Yeah, we can be in love. There's nothing wrong. Love is free. What the fuck is wrong? Nobody's possessive over here in terms of like, because there's possessive. You only feel like rage, jealousy, and possessiveness and like cutting off when you actually are protecting someone. Because a lot of times when say like if a man's like I'm possessive over my partner, they're possessive over the people that would come in and try to convince this partner that the other person is possessive over that like they could fill the role. But once you know the divine truth, which is that like you're the commitment is built off of the specificity. So that's what I was gonna say. A lot of these fraudulent baby mamas and baby daddies out here, they don't have a commitment from their partner and they're trying to normalize that and make it look cool or make it look like they made the right decision. And that's not true because the commitment can only come if the partnership is specific. If you did the general milk dud thing and you're like, you rich and fine, I'm rich and fine, we won't be a liability to each other, everybody knows that we look good together, and you got together for some shit like that, you don't have a commitment. You will never build a commitment. Commitments can only come from being like, your mom and my mom have this connection. We would have done that. Your favorite color is this. I was born this day. Okay, but the numerology adds up here. Your kid is, it's like, what is, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's just like a lot of like, I told you guys, there's just like, when you have a divine union, you're going to find like really glaring synchronicities. Things like, for example, I was raised in, it's very specific. If you have a junior in your family or a second of any kind, meaning like, there's a dad that had a son that in one way or another either looks identically like them, is identical to them, has some sort of prophecy, like second, like this child is gonna like be the son. They're like the dad. It's like they just copy. So my brother was named after my dad because my brother looks identical to my dad. Like it's scary. And it's weird that my parents knew to name him Sherman. Spirit psychic guys, but they knew to name him Sherman because he was going to come out and he actually has the same life cycles stages as my dad. So my brother and my dad like go through ascension rings at the same time. So it really is true that my brother's name was supposed to be Sherman, truly. But like that's a very specific experience for a family. Like you would know if you have like a my brother's named after my dad type of thing. My husband, one of the like glaring situations that like really like, for example, like I fell in love with him deeply, but I could really empathize with him because like I really like my husband has a very unique plight. He had a very heavy Capricorn, heavy early life because like his life was very defined by being the successor of the architect Dennis the First. He's Dennis the Second, who's supposed to be the innovation on the architect in the family. So Dennis had a big destiny. A lot of people were really fucking hard on him. He was the one out of his 3 siblings that's like the perfect child. Like it's like perfect pregnancy, perfect baby, perfect child, perfect face, perfect combination of his parents' genes, perfect, just like most likable sign, most just, you know, he's the middle child that is like, he's so obviously like the favorite and like he's just like the, you know, he's like the coolest one, you know. And but he had a like big prophecy, but it really helped because it was like, dude, that's so weird that you're Dennis the Second, like you're Dennis the Second. I was like him and like, for example, when our families met, they really understand the dynamic because like it's a very specific type of father and mother who are like aware that their child is like named after the father, and it's just like a specific experience, you know what I mean? So it's just like things like that, or like there just be big glaring like, oh what, like, or the fact that like me and Dennis are 40 days apart and that our parents basically were like pregnant at the exact same time with us carrying. So it's like our parents were like, they met and they had the same, it's like they had very similar, so you'll see stuff like that in terms of divine partnerships. But again, I feel like in the near future this is very interesting, but there's a magician and I almost feel like there's a genie coming and there's a wish, so maybe you should make a wish. I think if you know this resonates with you and in the near future you need to make a wish because you're already in this beautiful position right now where you did the thing that the divine was hoping for the whole time, which is like, I need you to separate yourself from the shit that's not like all the attention. Look, because everybody wants you. Everybody wants, oh, I want you, I want you, I want you. But you want one thing. So in order to have the one thing, I want you to separate yourself. Or actually, it's almost like if there's an opportunity coming up that if you're willing to separate yourself for like 20 seconds, you might be able to have like a wish come true with this partner. Whoa. Okay. I'm also going to say, this is deeply personal, but there might be a portal. If you make a wish, Spirit's going to open a portal for you. And if you stay, it's almost like right now, that's what people are contemplating. It's like, if I stay suspended right now, like for this portal, like someone knows something just opened up and they're wondering like, should I move? Yes, you should. You should. If you feel like there's a like, would that be weird? Yeah, you should. You should be chill. You should be normal. You should, again, I think the thing that I was going to do with this is just like normalizing. Do you see it's been 2 hours and 21 minutes? If you're really watching my shit, you're good. Like, trust my belief that like the thing that's for you, the soulmate that's for you, like you're good. It's not gonna be rah-rah. It's not even crazy. I'm giving you all the plays. Like, I'm just as calm right now as I'll always be in life. But there's no, I think you may have say, like, is that portal got my name on it? Yes, it literally just opened up for you. Like, to do the thing that you need to do, which is just to have a moment to look eye to eye. Because I think you don't understand the initial moment of when you meet is really sacred to the relationship. And if you don't do it when the genie appears in front of you, it could throw everything off. Like if I didn't do the June 18 thing, go fuck Dennis in the parking lot in 2017, the 9 years would have been off. And I just want you guys to know, it's like some of these portals, they get opened by the divine and you don't have to overthink it. Like it's the portal that's opening up for you to be able to go see your divine partner. Oh, surprises. There's a big surprise. Like a, shh, turn off the lights, okay? Walk her in. Surprise! Yeah, karmic justice. That's about to happen. Yes, it's about to happen. I think someone can tell. You don't know what it is, but there's a portal that opened up. And you can tell something is supposed to come through that portal, but it's a surprise. It's literally like a surprise that's like, because look, this does not look like, you remember when you be at a birthday party, you ever been on the inside of a surprise where like they don't know everybody's in the room and the lights are off, so when they walk in the house, everybody's like hiding. Surprise! When they take the, yeah, that's what's about to happen. It's about to happen. And it's somebody's, I think it's the way, I'm sorry to expose this, but the divine feminine is about to walk in on a sorpresa, the divine feminine within you. So you're going to be surprised that everybody's like, surprise! I think that's how the divine feminine feels right now. The divine masculine surprised her. It's like, surprise, of course. Of course, I specifically love you, of course. And that's in each of us. Like, my divine masculine would be doing that for my partner's divine feminine. And I am doing just that. The fear, the temperance, I think right now, the divine masculine, I will say, is a little scared of the divine feminine. I think they might think, like, because they didn't include the divine feminine maybe on building their foundation, so the divine feminine might be kind of like, they know the divine feminine, they not might be, would just be hurt. Because it's like, it's just more time spent, like, in the end. Because when you let go of everybody and there's only one person that matters to you, it's like, I feel kind of stupid about that. Because honestly, a hug, because I think it's just going to show how much like a hug, a high five, a kiss, a wink, a thumbs up from a person that's really for you, it can replace like the need for like millions to affirm you or some shit. It's like, it really can. Super cool. Let's see the outcome, then I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta go to work and get my husband all this shit. So the outcome is the Hierophant in reverse. And I might do a little bit of a clarifier on that. I love it. But the outcome of this week, the Hierophant in reverse, the bottom of the deck is the Two of Cups. I think by the end of this week, so many people are going to feel, in divine unions, are going to feel very spared. They're going to feel very spared. Because this is like receiving your highest timeline, and you know, I told you, I promised you, I've never lied to you. You're literally going to get everything you should have gotten out of this partnership as if you never fucked it up. And that's just going to humble you. But just let that be a lesson that God really wants you to commit to this. It really wants you to stand firm on all the things. Because again, you can't even get here to the door. So if you hadn't done the spiritual work, we wouldn't be having this reading right now. But God just really wants you to be aware, you know, of the vibes moving forward. So let's look at our last overall, because I know I didn't do this in any structure, but I think we're happy with how this turned out. Let's look at this very monumental week. What is the overall energy of this monumental sunny ass week? I just love the King of Pentacles. Oh my God. The end of the old world. This is over. The old world ended, and now it's like it's just like, because again, the Hierophant is in the reverse. It's just like, basically, you're going to be sitting this week because God's clear. Basically, everything that isn't your soulmate is getting cleared out. It's like done. Dennis just sent me a post broccoli, but it's like done. Everything that isn't your soulmate is like, it's over. And when that happens, it's kind of like the only thing that's left is the Hierophant, is what God wanted for you. But I feel like you didn't recognize that. That's why the Hierophant's in the reverse. So it's like the outcome is literally like God's plan in the end. And I think you just need to really sit, I will just say this week, really sit with, because the way that God's plan emerges out of the depths, it doesn't even matter what was going to go on. God was already like, whatever I needed to get done this week was going to get done, and you're going to experience that. So by the end of the week, if you came back to this video, you'd be like, holy shit, what happened to me was like a time at a time. It didn't really matter. And you're also going to see why God was saying, like, you should listen to me and just work on what I'm telling you to work on, instead of like trying to do the back and forth, the blase, because I think you're just going to get a lot of the humility about ways where like, okay, in the end, when I really do the accounting, it's just me stealing from myself and then how I worked on what God's shit was. So completing that cycle, I think, is going to end in a very honest way. It's going to end by being like, yep, there's no cycles really. There's just me refusing to be honest. And so now, like I said, I just don't think the Hierophant was something we thought we could get, because I did, like, kind of like I told you, it's like you did the emotional confession, but I kind of feel like the confession you were supposed to give was supposed to, it was for someone, but you didn't include them in it. So it's like you gave someone a birthday cake with someone else's name on it. It's like, oh, thank you. I know this is for me, but it has Susie Q's name and shit on it. And let it be a lesson that because you still kind of do get spared by the divine and you still get to have this partnership, just know it's because the divine had to be like, all right, just go ahead and scrape off the other bitch's name. They didn't mean the other bitch's name. Like, there's a lot of this where, like, for one of the partners, for the divine feminine, I feel like God had to really be like, you know what they mean. Just don't be too precious. I know you'll never get your man if you don't take him how he's coming right now. Trust me, I'll build him up, but he really just needs to like have sex with you or something. Like, it's just kind of giving that. The divine feminine's like, he just really needs to come into union with you. I think there's also something to be said about that. It's like the divine feminine and the masculine's not supposed to be doing that good without you. So it kind of also makes, I think the divine feminine knows, like, this can only be so good because I'm the missing piece. So when they come and offer it to you, it's like, yeah, it's going to be them minus my touch. So that's sweet. We'll work on it. But it was well received. It was love. I think it puts you right in the proper Two of Cups, and that's really beautiful. So I'm really proud of you. This was super fun. It's like my fucking 11:30 to 2 before my closing shift. So I love you guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Have a really awesome week. I'm really glad I got to touch base with you guys on a Monday. I'm gonna try to upload this very quickly. Kisses. Okay, see ya.